Hello and welcome to the channel. As always, like the video, and if you enjoyed the story, leave a comment on if you would want more. This fanfiction was not created by me, but in the description there is a link to the fanfic so you can show your support to the creator and read along. Without any more delay, let's dive into the story.
Naruto awoke with a groan. Ugh. Okay, I guess I still can't use all of my jutsu yet. The previous night Naruto had exhausted himself trying one of his more upper-tier ninjutsu. Waking up in his own bed he realized that Tsunade must have been spying on him again. Naruto chuckled, "Heh, I wonder if she saw that one." Naruto jumped out of bed and tripped over a black bundle at the foot of his bed. As it groaned he realized who it was, Shizen-san? "What are you doing here?" Shizen's hazy eyes opened and widened as she jumped up, surprising the blonde, Tsunade-sama. "Where is she?" Naruto grabbed Shizen to calm her down. "Hold on a second, just wait. You're saying she did this to you?" Shizen stopped stirring and rested in his arms, though he felt her breathing was still frantic. Naruto sighed and let her go. Shizen immediately made for the window. "We have to find Tsunade-sama. It might be too late to stop her." As Shizen left through the window, a kunai buried itself to the right of her head into a wall. They both turned to see Jiraiya standing on the ledge uneasily. "Where's Tsunade?" His voice held a threatening tone as he slinked along the wall up to Naruto and Shizen. Naruto took note of Jiraiya's condition. "Geez, Zero-sen, and what the hell happened to you?" Jiraiya sat on the ledge and experimentally flexed his arms. "Tsunade drugged me last night. I should have known better. She wasn't as pissy as she usually was when she drank with me." Naruto's attention was drawn up at an adjacent rooftop. But when he peered up he saw nothing. Shizen had gone to fetch Jiraiya an antidote to whatever Jiraiya had ailing him. She ran back and handed Jiraiya a glass of water and some crushed up pills. "Sorry Jiraiya-sama, there isn't an antidote to the poison, this should even you out though." Jiraiya took the pills and swallowed them with the water. "Thank you Shizen." When Naruto's attention returned to the roof he could no longer sense anyone's presence. Naruto looked at Shizen. "It's Orochimaru, isn't it?" Shizen looked surprised. Naruto looked over to Jiraiya. "How you feeling, Ero-sen?" Jiraiya crushed the glass in his hands. "It's not much. My chakra is still fluctuating, but it'll have to do." Shizen looked down sadly. "Orochimaru came to us last week with an offer. Restore his arms and he'll return Tsunade-sama's most precious people to her from the dead." She looked at Jiraiya hopefully. "Today is the day they meet, we might still be able to keep her from doing it." Jiraiya stood. "So how are we going to find her?" Shizen grabbed Tuntun and jumped to the ground before placing the small pig onto the ground. "We need your help Tuntun. Can you find Tsunade-sama for us?" The pig oinked as it sniffed at the ground. Jiraiya and Naruto dropped down around them just as Tuntun began oinking wildly at Shizen. Shizen turned to the other two with her. "Tuntun has her scent. Come on, it's this way." Triple X. They returned to the area of the ruined castle and found even more signs of destruction, though they were newer. Naruto smiled at the sight of the pulverized wall. "It looks like the old bat turned him down." Jiraiya nodded. "Yeah, that might not be so good for her though. Come on. We still have to find her." As they ran into a field they found Tsunade being beaten by Kabuto. Shizen shouted for her mistress as she ran over to her side. "Tsunade-sama." Naruto and Jiraiya waited close by as Shizen took out a handkerchief and wiped blood from Tsunade's face. Naruto looked at the scene in confusion. "Ero-sen, what's going on here? Is it a genjutsu or something?" Jiraiya shook his head in the negative. "Tsunade has hemophobia. She's afraid of blood kid, even the sight of it messes her up and makes her like that. Right now she's utterly useless." Naruto looked out at Orochimaru, whose arms were wrapped up, but Naruto could see faint traces of blood coming through. Next to him was Kabuto who was wearing a headband with a musical note on it. Naruto's eyes narrowed at the sight. "Kabuto Yukushi, I can't say it's good to see you again. At least I know my information was right, I just wish I could have gotten your ass before the invasion, damn seal." Jiraiya looked down at the now fuming blonde. "Kami kid, I said I was sorry. Hindsight is 20/20 they always say." Orochimaru chuckled as he saw the arrival of his third teammate, Jiraiya, and Naruto-kun too. What a warm reunion this is. Though I do no wonder what you are doing here. Jiraiya held his arm out in front of Naruto, keeping him from beginning to engage the enemy, protect Tsunade Gaki. Orochimaru is too much for you, and that Kabuto kid is out of your league also, it would take an. Boo. Jiraiya trailed off as he looked down at Naruto, who was giving him a deadpan look, trying to be funny, old man? Jiraiya sighed and waved, fine. Shizune can watch over Tsunade, I guess. Go ahead and fight Specs over there, I'll handle Orochimaru. Orochimaru heard this and chuckled, you'll handle me, Jiraiya? You were always the weakest of the Sannin, even handicapped you can't beat me. And sending your little blonde against Kabuto here, you must not like him too much. Jiraiya looked back at Shizune, can you keep an eye on Tsunade? Me and Nagaki will handle the snake and his flunky. Shizune nodded and returned to trying to calm Tsunade down. You ready, brat? Jiraiya looked over at Naruto, who smiled up at him angrily, this one's for Sarutobi-sensei. Naruto snorted, you can make it for the old man if you want. This one's for the Hibidouche sicking those 5 souped-up cursed seal assholes on me when he chased me out of Oto. That son of a bitch with the bones wasn't a joke, I've still got a gripe with him. Kabuto now. Kabuto pulled the bandages off of one of Orochimaru's arms and ran his own blood down the summoning tattoo on it, Kochios no Jutsu, summoning jutsu. Kabuto and Orochimaru then stood atop 3 rampaging snakes, heading towards Naruto and Jiraiya. Jiraiya went to summon himself, and in a small puff of smoke Gamakichi was revealed, oh, hey. Good to see you again. Naruto sweat dropped, seriously? I could do better than that. Come on, this is serious. Gaki. Room. Naruto moved back as Jiraiya made a set of hand signs and slammed his hands on the ground, Doton, Yomi Numa, Earth Release, Swamp of the Underworld. The ground in front of him turned into a dark murky substance, trapping the snakes within, disabling their movement. Jiraiya audibly cursed, damn it. It isn't very deep at all. I must still be under the effects of Tsunade's drug. Naruto shook his head, man Erosenin, you sure do suck today. Come on, we don't need any help right now anyway. Naruto turned to Gamakichi, go over to the lady in black and the blonde woman and stay put. This won't be a nice battle. Gamakichi hopped off as the battle stalemated. Jiraiya and Naruto both launched out at their chosen opponents, who broke off to confront them separately. Jiraiya began assaulting Orochimaru, who was noticeably unable to attack using his arms, instead lashing out with kicks and slipping away from Jiraiya's assault. Jiraiya decided to tease his former teammate, man, it must be hard to use jutsu with no arms, eh? That must suck for a guy like you, ha Orochimaru? Orochimaru gave a superior smirk, I don't even need my arms to destroy you, Jiraiya. I saw your weak jutsu, you're just as bad as me. Jiraiya barked out a laugh, I guess that's true as well. I guess we're just going to have to wait for our retainers to finish off their little speck of business before we can really get to the main event. Orochimaru laughed slowly, the Kyuubi child Jiraiya? I've seen what he can do. Against Kabuto he has no chance, the boy has absolutely no skill as a shinobi. Jiraiya gave a big grin, and that would be my fault. But don't worry, Rochi, I fixed him up before we even got to this town. I'm letting him fight Kabuto down there because I know he'll win. Consider this his coming out party, so to speak. Orochimaru looked befuddled, I fought him, Jiraiya. Even going as hard as he could, Kyuubi's chakra and all, he didn't come close to impressing me. Now the Uchiha, what strength? A true genius. Jiraiya broke down in laughter, I guess the standards for a genius are seriously declining these days. If just being a genin at the regular age makes you a genius, then I don't know what the hell to call Naruto. Orochimaru gave a cruel grin, how about failure? Loser? Cannon fodder? Frontline trash? Take your pick or make a few more of your own. Jiraiya had a placid smile on his face as he just stared at Orochimaru, ah, that's a good one. Orochimaru contorted his face in confusion, what is? What are you talking about? Jiraiya gave him a hard look. That face of yours just now. I want to remember it for later. Just so I can compare it to the look on your face after you see what the Gaki can really do. Triple X. Naruto faced off with Kabuto a distance away from where Orochimaru and Jiraiya were currently in conflict. Kabuto crossed his arms, a decided superior smirk on his face. You might want to leave this place before things get messy. You're a little out of your element here. Orochimaru-sama, myself, Jiraiya, Tsunade, even the woman with Tsunade. All of us are high-level shinobi. I myself am on par with Kakashi Hatake. And you're just a cute little genin that's out of his place. Naruto started chuckling, but then chuckling gave way to full-blown laughter. Man, I'm glad I didn't end up broken like everybody else in Na, because hearing that little threatening rundown was too much. You? Comparable to Kakashi Hatake? I'll believe it when I feel it. Naruto pointed back in Tsunade's general direction. I already beat Tsunade the other day. I could have killed her if I wanted to, knowing she's got hemophobia would have easier than it was. He pointed in the direction of the trapped snakes. Orochimaru is crippled. It wouldn't be too much of a stretch for me to beat him too, especially if he's underestimating me like you. Kabuto laughed loudly. To be naive genin. Believing that you can fight and defeat anyone. Naruto scratched his head. How to get you to understand? Okay, you obviously remember 4 years ago when one of Otogekire's bases got sacked and Orochimaru sent out his elite bodyguards to handle the intrusion. Kabuto nodded. Those fools were punished for allowing the intruder to escape. A spy like that could have been detrimental to our efforts. They haven't failed since. Kabuto's eyes snapped open wide. Wait? Are you really saying? There's no way, you would have had to have been 8 years old. Naruto grinned widely. Ding 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 ding. Got it in one Kabu team. It was me. I'd have gotten away clean too if it wasn't for Erosenen's love for dramatic bullshit. Who blows up the information depot during a reconnaissance mission? Honestly, how is that stealth? Kabuto pointed at him accusingly. No way. From what I've seen and from the information on you, you're nothing. A low-level genin. Naruto chuckled. Well, that's what the Konoha records had on one Kabuto Yukushi also, if you'll recall. We all know how that turned out, right, Mr. Spy? If you were capable of it, then why wouldn't I be? I didn't even have to join any ranks and keep suspicion off like you did. All I had to do was not get caught. Naruto tapped his finger on his head. I had the plans for your invasion all up here way back then. Every move you had planned out over the long term was all up here. All of your bases, the info that was listed on your cursed seal, the true nature of Orochimaru's immortality jutsu, it's all here. The only reason your invasion had even half of a chance of even getting off of the ground was because of some unfortunate business that ended with me getting my memory and abilities sealed off before I could tell the necessary people. Kabuto tilted his glasses and scoffed. Well then, Naruto-kun, please show me these skills of yours that allowed you to breach our defenses. I'm in need of a new form of entertainment after all. Naruto nodded sagely. I see. I guess it would get boring being Orochimaru's ass muppet after a while. Playing hide the trouser snake would get dull even for a flaming fruit like you, I assume. Kabuto gritted his teeth in anger. Do not slander Orochimaru-sama like that. What could you possibly know about his power? Naruto grinned. Hey, being a pedophilic creep doesn't mean he's weak, and from the way you're defending him it sounds like a fucking lie to me, boy. And don't think I didn't notice how you refrained from defending yourself either. Kabuto rushed in at Naruto, who set himself in a defensive stance. Kabuto's hands glowed blue as he neared closer. Naruto dodged his first attacks and kicked him back to get some distance between them. Chakra scalpels, I see. You're medic ninja? Letting you in close wouldn't be too favorable as long as you're using that. Kabuto chuckled. Try to keep me away then, Naruto-kun. Kabuto rushed back in and engaged Naruto close-up once more. Naruto ducked out of the way of Kabuto's attack, choosing to slip under and around his punches rather than block, lest his muscle tendons and other internal things in his arms be cut. He also had to watch it when he threw a punch or kick of his own to make sure that Kabuto didn't cut anything by simply blocking or parrying his moves. Naruto dodged even more of Kabuto's potentially fatal strikes, grunting in effort, "You're really annoying to fight. You're really fast, even for a medic nin." Kabuto's confident smirk returned. "Like I said, Naruto-kun, you're all talk. You're not on my level." Kabuto overextended on one of his attacks and allowed Naruto to spring out of close range. Naruto immediately began tossing out kunai at Kabuto, who dodged deftly and chuckled, "Simple kunai, Naruto-kun? That honestly can't be your best." Naruto rolled his eyes. "There you go again, with that superiority thing of yours. Why are bad guys such douchebags?" Naruto rolled through a series of hand signs: Raiton, Denkai, Lightning Release, Electric Field. Kabuto sat in place as he felt and saw nothing. Naruto simply stood in place, staring at Kabuto with cold blue eyes that seemed to analyze his every movement. Kabuto simply strolled forward. "You must not have that jutsu down quite yet, Naruto-kun. Don't worry, I mean you are still just a genin after all." Naruto's eyes showed no indication that he had even acknowledged Kabuto's words. Kabuto shrugged and strolled forward, reactivating his chakra scalpels once more, until a sharp jolt of electricity thrusted him backwards. "What is this? Didn't you hear me call out the jutsu?" Naruto kept his gaze on Kabuto, only this time he had a smirk on his face. "You didn't really think that I was that bad at using kunai, did you?" Kabuto turned to see a small spark of electricity coming from one of the kunai. He then noticed that the weapons Naruto had thrown were strewn about in a rough circle around him. "A barrier jutsu? I really have been underestimating you." Naruto made more hand signs. "I'm not done yet. From here I can branch off into tons of stuff, just watch. Raiton, Denki Maihimu, Lightning Release, Electric Mayhem." Kabuto heard multiple snaps of electricity going off around him before a burning jolt hit his body. As he caught his breath from the sudden zap, he could actually see random pulses of lightning rushing from kunai to kunai. Another shot hit him and dropped him to the ground while he was analyzing the jutsu. Kabuto was breathing raggedly as he turned his head towards Naruto, whose hands were held out at the field surrounding Kabuto. "Do you like it? This jutsu lets me just trap and torment you in there until you black out or just die. The more chakra I pump into it, the more frequent the bursts of electricity will come. The only thing is that I can't control the lightning coursing through the field, but it still has a great chance of hitting you as you felt." Naruto channeled more chakra into his attack, forcing the snapping sounds of electricity to sound off more frequently. Kabuto shakily rose to his feet once more but was quickly struck back down. Before he could even try to rise again, he was hit one more time. Kabuto growled to himself and sunk into the ground before another bolt could hit him. Naruto simply stood in a position to move quickly and jumped aside as Kabuto's hands emerged from the ground to grab at his legs. Naruto landed and formed 3 Kage Bunshin, who swarmed around Kabuto, launching attacks up close. Kabuto had somehow recovered enough from being electrocuted to fend off and dispel the Bunshin without too much trouble. Kabuto looked at Naruto, who was once more giving him a cold stare. "That was a pretty effective jutsu, Naruto-kun. If I couldn't dig my way out, I don't know how I would have escaped it." Kabuto's hands glowed green as he ran them over his torso to heal himself. "You're quite a troublesome opponent." Naruto tapped his foot impatiently while Kabuto healed. "Well, while you're doing that." Naruto made more hand signs and thrusted his fists out at Kabuto. "Futon, Fujin Saiken, Wind Release, Divine Fist of the Wind God." A visible ripple of air flew at Kabuto and hit him like a high-speed cart, sending him flying back, rolling head over heels bonelessly until he came to a stop. Naruto smirked as he saw Kabuto cease his backwards movement. "You still alive over there?" Kabuto stood up once more with blood trailing down his chin. "That was a solid hit there, Naruto-kun. I was right, you are a troublesome opponent." Naruto scoffed at Kabuto's pseudo-praise. "Oh really? I thought I was just a genin that was out of his element. If all it took to get your praise was an ass-kicking, then when I go back to Konoha I guess I'll have to start dealing them out en masse." Triple X. Shizen had cleaned the blood from Tsunade's face quickly but found that she was still lacking response. She had taken to watching Naruto fight Kabuto, seeing as how Jiraiya and Orochimaru were too far away to find, and that she didn't know whether or not Naruto would require her backup. Much to her surprise and delight, however, Naruto was capable of handling Kabuto handily. Were it not for the fact that Kabuto was a medic ninja, she was sure that the accumulated damage of Naruto's attacks would have beaten him. Tsunade's eyes had been affixed straight ahead ever since Kabuto had splattered her with blood, so she actually had been watching Naruto fight Kabuto the entire time. Watching him fight off the silver-haired medic, she realized that she had been extremely wrong in her first impressions of him. He shot his mouth off when they first met, not because he was too confident in his own abilities, but because he found her pathetic. He truly did. Someone with such a famous name, such a famous lineage, and such talent and legend known around the elemental nations was so bitter and disenfranchised. So much so that she let her skills fade enough for someone like himself to get the better of her. That shouldn't have happened, no matter how dangerous he was. When she had seen him train for the entire week, she had been amazed. His attempt to use a range of high-level techniques was something she had never seen from a boy so young. After he was done with one, he would move right on to the next one. If he couldn't get one to work, he would attempt it until he could force it or until he dropped out of exhaustion. The spark she could see in his blue eyes while he trained was the antithesis of what could be found in them in battle. In training, he would laugh, chuckle, crack jokes at himself and show his spirit and emotion. In battle, he kept things bottled, only choosing to take snide verbal shots at his opponents to get the upper hand. She had to rub her eyes a few times as she watched him train, because his actions in training reminded her so much of her deceased younger brother Nawaki. Gamakichi hopped on her shoulder and looked out at the fight excitedly. "Man, my bro is kicking ass out there." She unconsciously clenched her fist around her necklace as the battle carried on. Maybe, just one more time, she could believe in someone. Triple X. Kabuto pulled out a hooked kunai. "As enlightening as our little skirmish has been, Naruto-kun, it's time I put an end to this. Orochimaru-sama is a busy man, we all have work to do." Naruto nodded and pointed back at Tsunade. "Yep, I agree. Right now I have to go drag Bachan back to Konoha. But I also have a bet to win. Luckily for me, you're going to help me with that." Naruto snapped his fingers as two pairs of arms shot up from the ground and grabbed Kabuto's legs and arms, holding him in place. Kabuto tried to shake them off, but the grip was iron. "What? What is this?" A familiar voice sounded off from behind where he was grabbed. He turned slightly to face the cold eyes of the boy that was also facing off against him across the field. "You didn't think you were the only one who could use Doton, Mogirigakure no Jutsu, Earth Release, Hidden Mole Jutsu, did you?" Kabuto looked ahead of him to see Naruto smirking. "Now I've got this new jutsu I was taught, but I never got to use it on any real people before. I think you'll make the perfect guinea pig for me, don't you think? With your healing abilities you should be fine, maybe. Meh, it's not like I really care anyway." Naruto charged up chakra into his hand. Kabuto's eyes widened and his struggling increased as he realized just what it was as a blue spinning orb took shape in Naruto's grasp. Naruto strode towards him slowly, the stride turned into a jog and the jog into a sprint as he rushed at Kabuto. He thrusted the attack out and into the exposed body of Kabuto, Rasengan. Naruto ignored the blood flying as the attack tore into Kabuto's body and sent him flying off into a nearby boulder. Naruto turned towards Tsunade and walked with a purpose over to her and Shizune. When he got close, a goofy grin appeared on his face. "I do believe you owe me that necklace of yours, Bachan." Triple X. Orochimaru's jaw dropped low as he had just seen Naruto handily dispatch his right-hand man. A clicking sound brought him back into awareness as he saw Jiraiya holding a camera. "Ah, that's a good one." Orochimaru gritted his teeth. "Such power. He's too dangerous to leave alive. I have to kill him here before he gets too strong." Orochimaru flew off of the snakes at Naruto. Jiraiya tried stopping him but was tossed aside. Tsunade's drug had yet to wear off. As he launched himself at Naruto, his sword, Kusanagi, emerged from his mouth. Naruto's back was turned to the murderous Sannin as he closed in, sword out and about. As he was talking to Tsunade, his senses went off and he drew his sword, turning around in the nick of time just to block Orochimaru's strike. Naruto's eyes widened as he realized just who he was crossing blades with. "Orochimaru team, nice to see you again." He noticed the arms of Orochimaru. "The old man really did a number on you back in Konoha, didn't he?" Orochimaru hissed at the boy as he pushed against him. "Just die, boy. You'll ruin my plans for the future." He pulled back and began slashing at Naruto, who held up his defenses, slowly backing up due to his surprising strength. Naruto tried to strike back, but Orochimaru showed traits reminiscent of his summons as he dodged Naruto's attacks. Naruto had to take great care as he slipped around Orochimaru's strikes. Even a scratch from the legendary weapon could poison him, a tactic that Naruto had to somewhat respect, a good way to ensure victory for sure. And Orochimaru knew how to use it, even from his mouth. As the clang of steel on steel went on, Orochimaru landed a kick to his body, sending him flying back next to Tsunade. Naruto gave her a reassuring grin. "Don't worry, Bachan. I'll get rid of this guy and then I'll be dragging you back to Konoha, just sit tight." Tsunade gasped at the sight of the blonde's grinning face. "He looks just like Nawaki." She took notice of Orochimaru hovering over him. Orochimaru thrusted downwards with his sword. Naruto barely blocked the point of the sword with the flat of his own. Naruto struggled against Orochimaru as the murderous intent in Orochimaru's eyes blazed. Suddenly a fist was implanted into Orochimaru's face, sending him flying a few feet back. Naruto blinked as he was pulled to his feet by the woman who was just on the ground watching him. Bachan?" Tsunade was staring out intently at Orochimaru. "Are you okay, brat?" Naruto nodded dumbly. "Yeah, Bachan, I'm just fine." She smirked at him in response. "Good, because I owe you a serious beatdown for all of this Bachan crap you're spouting." Realization then covered her face. "Oh yeah." She took off her necklace and placed it on Naruto. "You win, kid. You've beaten me fair and square, and I'm an honest woman." Orochimaru stood up and cracked his jaw back into place as he glared out at Tsunade. "Tsunade, what do you think you're doing? Why would you put your life at risk just to assist a brat like that?" Tsunade cracked her knuckles. "I would risk my life because I am Tsunade Senju, granddaughter of the Shodai Hokage, grandniece of the Nidaime Hokage, and as of today I am the Godaime Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato." Naruto and Shizen appeared at her side. "You tell him, Bachan. Now let's kick his ass and go home already." Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto landed by his side and drew more blood down Orochimaru's summon tattoo to call upon another summon. Naruto blanched as he saw Kabuto still moving. "What? I ripped him apart. He should be dead." Naruto. Naruto rushed off to Jiraiya's side to summon for him. "Bring out Gamabunta." Naruto nodded and summoned for him and Jiraiya. Tsunade followed suit and summoned her own boss creature. As three massive puffs of smoke went up across the landscape, the smoke cleared to reveal a massive snake, slug, and toad, all looking at one another. Gamabunta let out a puff of smoke from his pipe. "Well, if it isn't Manda and Katsuyu. How long's it been since I've seen you two?" Jiraiya looked down from where he and Naruto were standing on his head. "Bunta, we need your help for this one." "So, are you in?" Gamabunta let out another puff from his pipe. "Sure, why not? I guess now I can finally get that snakeskin wallet I've been wanting." Naruto smirked. What would a giant toad want with a snakeskin wallet anyway? Naruto looked over at Kabuto standing on Manda next to Orochimaru. "I swear that Rasengan should have killed him. I hit him dead on. I splattered his innards all over my face and everything." Jiraiya looked at Naruto momentarily. If he's anything like his master, then he's a bastard to kill. "Don't worry, kid, we're settling up right now." Tsunade looked out at Orochimaru from atop Katsuyu. "This is it, Orochimaru. After this there will be one less Sannin in the world." Orochimaru simply chuckled while Manda hissed under him. "Orochimaru. What do you think you're doing summoning me out here?" Kabuto tried to calm the massive snake down. "Manda, we just dash dot. Silence, whelp. I won't bother speaking to a flunky like you." Manda turned angry eyes to the top of his head. "When this is over I'll be expecting over 100 sacrifices." Orochimaru smirked. "Of course. Nothing less for you, Manda." Kabuto let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Thank goodness. If Manda knew Orochimaru-sama couldn't use jutsu, he might just eat us. Jiraiya patted Naruto on the head. "Alright, kid, it's deadly serious now. Stay out of things unless I say otherwise. Even if you think you see an opening, it's probably a feint." Naruto snorted and slapped Jiraiya's hand from his head. "I'm aware of the level of this fight, Erosenin. And I'm also not stupid enough to fall for any half-assed feints. As far as I'm concerned, I'm your trump card if anything. Jiraiya looked at Naruto in a confused manner. How so gaki? Naruto smirked. Think about it. Orochimaru can't use his arms to use jutsu, Kabuto and Shizen don't really have any long-range jutsu, you and I are the only ones that can fire stuff from a distance, and I can make an ungodly amount of Kage Bunshin, making tons of cannon fodder / potential attackers. I'm your ace in the hole here. Jiraiya chuckled. Well, I guess that's one thing about you that didn't change, you always want to be in the fight. Naruto scratched his head. Yeah, I guess it's in my blood or something. Jiraiya patted Gamabunta on the head. Let's go Bunta. Gamabunta drew his tanto and rushed at Manda, who slithered away rapidly, surprising Naruto. Damn. That big-ass snake is ridiculously fast. Manda moved to Gamabunta's blind spot and attempted to bite down on him, poisonous fangs glistening in the sunlight. Gamabunta jumped aside in time to dodge the strike and hopped away. Katsuyu moved in and launched acid from her mouth at Manda. Once again showing deceptive speed, Manda slipped away and rushed Gamabunta. The boss toad lifted his sword to block Manda's bite, but with a swing of his tail he knocked the sword out of Gamabunta's webbed hands. Katsuyu launched more acid out at Manda, but he dodged before it could hit. Manda rushed over to Katsuyu and began constricting her. Tsunade noticed her boss summon in dire straits. Katsuyu, separate. The massive slug did as commanded and broke off into tons of smaller forms, disorienting Manda, who had been wrapped around her at the time. Jiraiya and Gamabunta decided to take advantage of the momentary advantage given to them. Gamabunta jumped back to gain some space while Jiraiya on his head went through hand signs. Gamabunta, give me some oil. Gamabunta spat out a glob of oil as Jiraiya held his fingers to his mouth to make a fireball. Katun, Game Enden, fire release, toad oil flame bullet. The massive fire stream that followed engulfed Manda, seemingly melting his figure, however it revealed to simply be a snakeskin. Manda then burst from the ground behind Gamabunta. Naruto, who had been sitting back the entire time, saw this and whipped through hand signs. Futen, Fujin Saiken, wind release, divine fist of the wind god. Naruto shot out a double-fisted punch at Manda, who recoiled with the markings of fists on his face. Manda hissed as he coiled himself up, the stinging marks still evident. Little fucking brat. Jiraiya grinned at the shot Naruto had taken at the powerful summon until he blinked. Wait. Where's Tsunade? Right on cue, Tsunade flew at Manda, holding Gamabunta's tanto, and slammed the blade through his mouth, pinning him to the ground. Naruto's eyes widened at the feat of strength. Erosenin, remind me to never pull the crap that I tried when I first met Bachan ever again. Jiraiya patted his head. Well, first of all, calling her Bachan is just asking for it. Naruto scoffed. That's pushing it. If I won't stop calling you Erosenin, then how can she stop me from calling her Bachan? Super strength beatdown be damned. Tsunade ran up Manda's body and began pummeling Orochimaru while Kabuto's attention was held by Shizune. Naruto sweat dropped at the sight of the snake Sannin taking such a beating. Why, you think we should jump in or something? Jiraiya had his telescope out with a stupid grin on his face. Nah. Tsunade's got it, kid. Naruto's eye twitched as the fight persisted. No, I mean for Orochimaru. His facial structure has to be liquidated by now. Kami, let it be known that the guy can take one hell of a punch if nothing else. He can't even get up a guard to block. That sucks. Tsunade sent him flying with one last massive shot. Kabuto rushed to his side and picked him up. Orochimaru glared out at Tsunade. Damn you, Tsunade, my plans have failed for now. Do not think this is over, there is still another way to heal my arms, and the next time, I'll kill you both. With that being said, he and Kabuto sunk into the earth to make their escape. Naruto, Jiraiya, and Shizune appeared next to her as all of the summons had long since dispersed. Jiraiya slapped Naruto on the shoulder. Good job, brat. A high-level fight like this is over and you aren't an ugly red smudge on the landscape. Naruto sighed and rolled his shoulder. No respect. I don't get no respect at all. Shizune smiled and kissed him on the cheek. I respect you, Naruto-kun. Naruto chuckled in disbelief and shook his head with a slight smile on his face, and that somehow made this day of bullshit somewhat worth it. Thank you, Shizune-chan. Tsunade smirked as she walked over to Naruto. Well then, brat. You won the bet, got the necklace, and now we're going back to Konoha. What are we going to do now? Naruto stood still in thought for a moment before turning on his heel and heading back to town. He waved over his shoulder as he walked away. We just got through fighting Orochimaru and I've been training nonstop for about a week. I'm going to go sleep like the dead, you guys can go do whatever the hell you want. The amassed adults had a chuckle as they heard Naruto grumbling about Kabuto's blood being all in his clothes. Tsunade shook her head at his retreating figure. He's going to be a fine man one day. And perhaps a fine Hokage too. Jiraiya put a hand on her shoulder. You don't know the half of it. A lecherous grin came upon his face. Now that that's all done, a woman like you can't be seen in clothes with blood all over them. That's a travesty. It should be a dress or nothing. Luckily for you, I happen to have no dress back in my room. Naruto could only shake his head as the sounds of a solid thwack followed by Jiraiya flying overhead towards town rang out. Jutsu list. Raitun, Denkai, Lightning Release, Electric Field C-Rank Ninjutsu. Mid to close range. Requires contact points that can conduct electricity, metal obviously works best. A field of electric chakra surrounds the intended point, keeping an adversary trapped within. If the foe attempts to physically breach the field, a powerful force will push them back within, keeping them inside. Raitun, Denki Maihimu, Lightning Release, Electric Mayhem C-Rank Ninjutsu. Mid to close range. A branching technique from Raitun, Denkai. Sends random bolts of lightning between the conductor points. The more chakra used, the faster and more frequent the jolts will be. Futen, Fujinsaiken, formerly Futen, Kazunokamiken no Kami, Wind Release, Divine Fist of the Wind God B-Rank Ninjutsu. Mid to close range. Forces the user to direct wind chakra around their hands in the blunt shape of their fist and thrust it out at their target. The impact is equal to the amount of chakra pumped into the attack, however the control must be adequate in order to use the jutsu at such a high level. Violent backlash can occur if the control over the amount of chakra is not satisfactory. Theoretically, the attack can be used to crush an opponent into paste against a solid surface, or can throw an enemy an unmeasurable distance with blunt force trauma. The walk back to Konoha had been entirely uneventful, and this is what terrified Jiraiya more than anything else. Naruto had said no more than 5 sentences to him over the course of the trip home. And whenever he did, it was simply business. He spoke to Tsunade and Shizune on a regular basis. He had gotten along quite well with Tsunade's dark-haired attendant, go figure. But whenever Jiraiya would try to jump into the conversations, Naruto would either end them or simply box him out. Apparently he had been telling the truth and no just shooting the shit when they started. He would be professional because they were on a mission, and now that it was all but over, Jiraiya was starting to see just how Naruto was feeling about him. Upon their arrival in Konoha, they all headed up to the Hokage Tower to get Tsunade introduced and situated, grilling by the Sandame's old advisors included. Konohamaru didn't really take kindly to someone replacing his grandfather's position, so he holed himself up inside the office, barring entry with traps and blocking the door. Somehow he ended up keeping people out all day long. Upon being informed by Konohamaru's friends, Udan and Moegi, Naruto just walked up. Sparta kicked the heavy oaken door off of the hinges, sending all of the stuff behind it flying, walked through the office using the door to block all of Konohamaru's traps, and dragged the kid out by his collar. He chose to do this himself because he knew Tsunade would have done roughly the same thing if she really wanted to get into the office, and she might not have been so nice about it. Naruto took Konohamaru to the top of the Hokage Tower and sat him down to talk. So, what the hell is wrong with you, kid? Naruto got a tick mark on his head when Konohamaru climbed up and pulled his knees to his chest. Okay, you can either tell me and we can talk this out, or I'll just do like my trainer did for me when I was a kid and beat the crap out of you until you forget why you're all mopey in the first place. Konohamaru paled when a mild amount of killing intent began leaking out of Naruto. What happened to you, boss? You've been different since the Chunin exams. Naruto sighed. It's a long story, and because I know what's wrong with you, it might make you even more pissed off than you already are, for one reason or another. Now don't change the subject. What's your malfunction today? Konohamaru snapped at him. I thought you already knew. Naruto answered back snippily. I do, I just want to hear it from you. Facing up to your own problems is the first step towards moving past them. Konohamaru looked up with tears in his eyes. What if I don't want to move past them? I don't want to move past my grandfather, boss. Naruto stayed silent and let Konohamaru speak. Everyone is moving on, going forward with everything. It's like he was never here, he was the Hokage boss. And everyone's going to forget about him. Naruto steeled himself. He really didn't feel like touching anything that involved Sarutobi with a 10-foot pole right then, but this kid needed him, and being a ninja means doing things that you don't want to for the greater good. Look, Konohamaru, he was the Hokage for many years, longer than anybody else, he had a long reign, and he's done so much for this place. I'm sure everybody has a standout memory of him. Naruto then grumbled under his breath, Kami knows that I do. Naruto shook off that dark line of thinking. The point is that someone that has touched so many people can never truly just disappear. Trust me, brat, chances are that they'll be talking about him long after we're dead. You can go up to just about any of the ninja in this place and the majority of the civilians, and they can probably give you some stories. Konohamaru started drying his eyes. What about you, boss? What kind of stories do you have of Grandpa? Naruto held back a frown. I don't think you're old enough to hear about my story of the old man. Maybe one day I can tell you, but it's better that I don't right now. Naruto patted Konohamaru on the head. Do you feel better now? Konohamaru nodded. Are you going to cry a bitch around me again anytime soon? Konohamaru shook his head. Good. Naruto picked the kid up and sent him off on his way. He made his way back to Tsunade's office where she had a massive chunin picking up the mess left by Naruto going hard on the door. Seated behind what was soon to be her desk, she smirked upon seeing the young shinobi enter. Nice mess, Gaki. Why did you kick my door? Naruto raised an eyebrow. 2 reasons, you would have done it yourself eventually and… Honestly, I've wanted to do that for years, that just gave me an excuse. Naruto took a seat as the last of the mess was cleaned and the door was put back. Tsunade took on a business face when the door was shut. So what's going on with you and Jiraiya? You weren't speaking to him at all on the way back. Naruto locked eyes with the older blonde. Are you sure you want to hear this? It's not something really vital for you to know. And I'm also pretty sure it's a village secret, probably above me being the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Tsunade's eyes widened momentarily before she smirked. Well, I'm going to be Hokage now, right? What's a village leader without a few dark little secrets? Naruto chuckled. Get comfortable because you're going to be sitting there for a while asking me questions and stuff. Tsunade frowned and pulled a bottle of sake from the desk. Naruto's sweat dropped. Wow, you certainly stashed that quickly, didn't you? Tsunade scoffed as she pulled out a cup. It's not mine, smartass. Sarutobi-sensei left it there before I ever even got here. Naruto sharply inhaled breath. That's right, the old man did train you 3 twisted sannin, didn't he? That might make this an uncomfortable conversation. He snapped his head around. No Ambu guards? Tsunade shrugged. I'm not Hokage yet, kid. I still have to get through coronation first. It's just us for now. Naruto kept silent as he thoroughly checked the room before he looked to Tsunade once more. So did Erosenin tell you anything about me? Tsunade nodded. What do you know? Tsunade poured herself a cup. Other than the stuff that I already knew, he let me in on your base character and stuff. Apparently he left out the scary battle phase part. Naruto clenched his hands together as he set his chin on them. That's because he didn't know about it. I didn't used to be a goofy loud fuck-up until a few years ago. I was more like I am now, calm, collected, focused, and I had something of a mean streak too. Tsunade looked confused. So your personality changed? How is this a secret? Naruto shook his head. It's not that my personality evolved, it's how it evolved. Haven't you noticed that I'm too good for my own good at fighting? I shouldn't have been able to stop Orochimaru's surprise attack on me back in Tanzakugai if I was just a genin, hell, even a chunin. I was spamming jutsus that I shouldn't know how to do and fighting on par with a jounin-level ninja. Tsunade flashed back to all of the things he had done since she had met him, and then she realized. Flashback. Tsunade's eyes drifted over to him. So who's the brat Jiraiya? Jiraiya looked at Naruto, who was wearing an unreadable expression, minus the twitching. This is Naruto Uzumaki, my new apprentice. Naruto's eyebrows shot up. Apprentice? Since when? Jiraiya smirked at the boy. Since you signed the Toad contract before the invasion, kid. Congratulations. Naruto grumbled and placed his face on his hands. Great. The guy that locked away my strength and skill wants to make amends and teach me how to fight again. Triple X. Kabuto pointed at him accusingly. No way. From what I've seen and from the information on you, you're nothing. A low-level genin. Naruto chuckled. Well, that's what the Konoha records had on one Kabuto Yukushi also, if you'll recall. We all know how that turned out, right, Mr. Spy? If you were capable of it, then why wouldn't I be? I didn't even have to join any ranks and keep suspicion off like you did. All I had to do was not get caught. Naruto tapped his finger on his head. I had the plans for your invasion all up here way back then. Every move you had planned out over the long term was all up here. All of your bases, the info that was listed on your curse seal, the true nature of Orochimaru's immortality jutsu, it's all here. The only reason your invasion had even half of a chance of even getting off of the ground was because of some unfortunate business that ended with me getting my memory and abilities sealed off before I could tell the necessary people. End flashback. Tsunade looked at Naruto and locked eyes with him, taking note of the scar over his right eye and how he was patiently waiting for the point to hit her. There was something done to you back then, and Jiraiya was the one who did it. Naruto smiled faintly. You're half right, Ero-sennin was the one who sealed me, but it was ordered by another. Sarutobi Gigi really screwed me over back then. Tsunade's jaw was hanging. Sarutobi-sensei? Why? What happened to force him to seal you off? Naruto's eyes blazed over angrily. Nothing happened to force him to seal me. I was injured during a covert mission. Ero-sennin said he found me and brought me to the old man where they found out it was me. Apparently they thought I was some kind of threat, too strong for my age to be left alone. They didn't even wait for me to regain consciousness before they took me and locked away my strength and speed, my skills, my jutsu, my knowledge, everything. Tsunade was enthralled with the story. So what happened then? Why did the seal break? Did one of them take it off? Naruto shook his head. I had my mind regress back to the time when I was 4 years old. For all intents and purposes, I had to learn things like how to read all over again. I was mentally behind everybody else in the academy and everything. I broke the seal during the invasion, and since then it's been a matter of picking up the pieces and relearning everything. Those 3 jutsu that I used against Kabuto, I have tons of those were just the ones that I had the time to relearn, not even master. Tsunade still had a question. Why did Sarutobi-sensei do it? Why did he think you were dangerous? Naruto leaned back in his chair. I can't tell you that. It would be a matter of total betrayal. It's not like it's that good of a secret, but let Ero-sennin be the one to tell you. I'm technically not even supposed to exist if you catch my drift. Tsunade nodded. One more thing. Where do you think you rank in the overall roster of my active shinobi? Naruto shrugged. How should I know? It's not like I've fought any of them to find out or anything. Naruto pointed out at her suddenly, but fuck being a genin though. You know damn well I'm better than that, anything other than that will do right now. Tsunade smiled at him, noted. Now get out of my office, you're the only real ninja from this village that I've actually gotten to meet yet. She put away the sake and shooed him off. When he was out of sight she called out loudly, Shizune, call a meeting for me for all ninja the rank of Chunin and over after the coronation we have so business to sort out. Triple X. Naruto sat on his bed back in his apartment. He had decided to stop looking for Danzo. If Danzo wanted to see him he could easily find him, it's not like it was hard anymore. He didn't need anyone to sort the whole mess out anymore, meaning that honestly there was no reason to look for Danzo. His original goal was to be a ninja for Konoha. Sarutobi had proverbially blocked one path with a boulder, but instead of complaining that the way had been blocked, Naruto had followed the path the boulder had taken to find a completely new destination, to find his own way towards becoming one. Danzo had never made it a secret that he thought of Naruto as a tool, an expendable soldier. While Naruto had more value than most if not all of his other operatives, when your house burns down you don't grab the stuff inside, you just run, and when Naruto was caught on the job and exposed Danzo had to wash his hands of him, it was all he could have done. Give them Naruto and cut your losses, the only thing a man like Danzo doing the things he was doing had as an option. He knew Jiraiya would be confronted by Tsunade about sealing him, he knew he'd tell her what he and Sarutobi had learned about Na, and try to color her opinion. But honestly, loyalty only went so far as Naruto was concerned, and being blacklisted by Na pretty much got rid of his loyalty. If you don't want me, I don't need you, was the way he saw it. The best Danzo would get from him at this point was him keeping his mouth shut about Na, which was all he was going to do in the first place. Jiraiya's arrogance and his own ability to gather information kept him from ever asking Naruto what he knew about Na, thinking that Naruto had been a young flunky and didn't have much information. It's always fun to have preconceived notions, isn't it? Not really smart though. Naruto knew quite a bit. He had been trained by Danzo almost personally and had information given to him by the man himself, no misdirection necessary. Naruto would never have broken to torture, it had been made sure of and tested thoroughly because Danzo never placed the seal ensuring he would be quiet about Na on him. Therefore Danzo told him things, everybody needs at least one confidant. But that was not important either, he was now a Konoha ninja, no longer in an E. He answered to another higher-up and belonged to their forces now. Naruto groaned as he sat up in a meditative position. The last thought he had before slipping into his own mind was that he was still a weapon, he had just been lost and collected by another. XXX. Naruto opened his eyes to reveal himself standing at the door of his own apartment. Naruto sighed, well, it's better than a sewer, I guess. He opened the door and walked through his mindscape/apartment to find a dog-sized fox with 9 tails and a collar asleep on what was supposed to be his bed, obviously the Kyuubi. The Kyuubi's ears twitched as he drew closer and it sat its head up to let out a vulpine yawn. Hello, Kit. I have to say, it's a major improvement over the sewer. Naruto sat on the bed next to the fox and looked over at the awakening Biju. I can see you're enjoying it. It's still not as cool as it used to be though. If I want to see my own apartment then I sure as hell wouldn't come in here. The fox growled in comfort as Naruto shook his head with a faint smirk. So is my mind good enough to broker out the old deal again or what? Kyuubi cracked open an eye and stood to walk over to Naruto. Well, since I can make physical contact with you again, we can do this right now. Anything you want to add? Anything you didn't like? You want to get rid of the trigger? Naruto raised his eyebrow. No, I like the trigger. Hell no, we're keeping that, that was always cool. Keep that, also you can still see and feel everything I do, you can talk to me, but I can still mute you . Spoil sport. Kyuubi butted Naruto with its muzzle. Naruto kept reeling off deals, I get to retrain using your chakra, and I have to get ridiculously strong again, per the first agreement. I still have to kick the guy that helped the Yondaime come up with the seal that imprisoned you and me in the balls, and I think I'll enjoy doing that more than you will. Am I forgetting anything? Kyuubi scratched behind its ears, no not really. If you want to make another deal or something I'm always open to negotiations, remember that Kit. And don't wait too long to use the trigger, you know I always liked that move. Naruto stood up and let the Kyuubi lay back down on the bed. Alright, I'm gone. Later you lazy ass fox. Kyuubi batted one of its tails in acknowledgement as Naruto left the apartment/mindscape. XXX. Naruto opened his eyes and sat up to reveal the hazy outline of the sun outside. Damn it, did I black out until morning? Naruto shakily stood up and went into his bathroom to help wake himself up. As he was brushing his teeth, a knock came at his window. Spitting and rinsing his mouth, he then walked over to the window in his bedroom, revealing an Anbu in a bear mask. Kuma-san. I must have slept through Tsunade-bachan's coronation, right? The Anbu nodded. Tsunade-sama wishes for you to meet her at the tower immediately. Naruto nodded. Sure thing, just let me change clothes and then I'll go. The Anbu used Shunshin to disappear from sight as Naruto shut his window. Upon changing and leaving his house, Naruto was once again subjected to the usual looks of disdain and scorn from the villagers. Naruto went through a mental checklist as he walked towards the tower. I'm gonna get that guy, that bitch is screwed. Oh. That guy is getting fucked when I get free time. Naruto had not lost his luster for pranks, and seeing as how he needed to vent on someone anyway, why not take it out on the people that dislike you regardless? As he arrived in the tower, he found the same Anbu from his house standing in front of the door of Tsunade's office. Hokage-sama is waiting inside, Uzumaki-san. Naruto nodded and entered. Naruto found the office filled wall to wall with many of Konoha's high-level ninja. Naruto sauntered, pushed, slid, and mashed his way through until he reached Tsunade's desk. "You wanted to see me, Bachan?" Tsunade glared at Naruto as she heard snickering coming from the back. "Yes, brat. I asked for you to come today so that I could get a general idea of your promotion. I've asked these jounin here because they must know more of what you're capable of than I do." Naruto snorted. "Yeah, right." Tsunade opened the floor for the others to voice their opinion on Naruto. Needless to say, most had nothing too flattering to say about the blonde. The only thing most said that was actually good was that he had high reserves, and then the compliments dropped off sharply. Naruto could only stand silently and pondering, "That guy's getting it, that guy's getting it. Oh hell no. He called me what? That guy's getting fucked." Meanwhile, the Kyuubi was doing some musing of its own. "You could kill that guy, you could kill that guy. What the hell? That guy wouldn't last more than 5 seconds against you. How is he getting a say in this?" Kurenai then stepped forward to take her turn. Naruto has high chakra reserves and stamina, which lend themselves to him well when he uses Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Other than that, and an ability to think on his feet, however, I cannot give him a good grade in the other facets of being a shinobi. He is usually reckless and quick to act before thinking. He has poor chakra control due to such high reserves. His taijutsu is almost no true form. He has no aptitude for genjutsu, and other than his aforementioned Kage Bunshin, he has no true ninjutsu to speak of. In the back, Irika had to grit his teeth hearing all of these people speak about Naruto as if he was a burden on the program. Asuma pretty much agreed to the same thing, leaving Naruto looking around. Where the hell is Kakashi? Shouldn't someone have my back in here? Asuma looked at Naruto. Good luck with that kid. Kakashi isn't going to show for this until we're 3 hours in. Naruto felt like slamming his head into something, a person or inanimate object. It didn't really matter to him. Tsunade noticed that everyone was done with their opinions and looked to Naruto. "Well, we've heard from everyone else, Naruto, so what about you? Do you have anything to say about what you've been told today? You have the floor." Tsunade shivered as a dark grin came upon Naruto's face. He turned to face all of his superiors, while speaking personally. "Fuck you all." As the jaws dropped of everyone in the room, Naruto began walking around the room. "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Not you, Irika-sensei, you didn't say a thing. But yeah, basically, fuck everyone with no real input or a true perspective based on real knowledge." He continued walking around the room. "You say my jutsu list is pitiful. Did you ever know if anyone tried to teach me any? Have you ever seen me fight other than the one time against Niji? You say my control is shoddy. Well, if you have enough chakra to make upwards of 1000 Kage Bunshin, then I'd love to see you try and keep it up to snuff. You say my taijutsu sucks. Come and fight me and find out just how bad at it I am. Having an aptitude at genjutsu is kind of hard without someone teaching it to you, isn't it? All of you love to talk about how much you've heard that I suck to make you feel better about your own teams, but none of you have even the slightest idea of what I'm capable of, and while I kind of like that sometimes, right now it's really starting to piss me off." Naruto finished and sat on Tsunade's desk calmly. "I can see you all have something to say. So go ahead and say it." The room exploded with Jonin and Chunin yelling at Naruto for his disrespect and begging Tsunade to discipline him. Naruto turned to look at Tsunade and shrugged when he saw her massaging her temple. "Well, you said I had the floor. That means I can say whatever I want." Tsunade sighed in resignment. "I suppose I dug my own grave on that one." Asuma calmly stared Naruto down. "Do you really think you're ready for a promotion, kid? You didn't come off as a world beater during the Chunin exams." Naruto scoffed. "Whatever, and I suppose you'd rather have someone like Shikamaru be promoted than instead of me." Asuma blinked. "Actually yes, he showed great strategic thinking and combat savvy." Naruto rolled his eyes. "Yeah, and what will he do when he ends up going against someone that can flat out overpower him and disrupt his plans? He's just lucky Temari got caught up in playing his game. If she really wanted to kill him, she could have just ripped the tree he was hiding in up by the roots with her Winjutsu and crushed him. Hell, I could beat Shikamaru. As a matter of fact, I could beat your entire team if I had to. He looked at Kurenai. I could beat everyone on your team. Hell, I beat Kiba with my chakra and reflexes disrupted an hour after finishing the second stage of the exams with no downtime. Naruto shrugged. You know what, as a matter of fact I could probably beat Guy's team too. I already beat Niji, Rock Lee's hurt and if he ever recovers will need rehab before he could step to me, and 10-10, I'll beat her the way Temari did if she hasn't learned anything new. And don't even get me started on my team. Those teams are apparently the best, which means that there isn't a single goddamn genin in this entire village that can beat me. Tsunade spoke up before they all broke into another uproar. That's quite a statement, brat. Care to back that up with action? Naruto smirked at Tsunade. Do you really want me to put 10 of your genin in the hospital? You sure you can spare that kind of manpower? Tsunade couldn't help but return the smirk Naruto was giving her. Fine then. In 1 week you will fight Asuma's, Kurenai's, and Guy's genin, in addition to the ones on your own team. If you can adequately impress, then you'll be promoted to Chunin. She spoke again as Naruto opened his mouth. We'll handle anything further if you can get a promotion from this test. Kurenai spoke up. Hokage-sama, you can't be serious. I don't know of any genin that can take on 3 other genin teams, let alone a rookie in the dead last of this year's graduates. Asuma nodded in agreement. The kid has never shown anything special. What makes you think that something like this is necessary? Ibiki stepped forward, having kept silent the entire time. This dead last, as you so eloquently put it, captured the Kazekage's children and took out an entire squad of Odo shinobi that had our own forces pinned down during the Suno-Odo invasion. He at least deserves the chance to prove something to all of you that can't see past the titles that you all gave him in the first place. Naruto smiled. Note to self, do not bomb scare Ibiki with horrible, guerrilla warfare-ass pranks. Tsunade nodded. Thank you, Ibiki. She looked out at the other amassed ninja. I have personally seen this boy face down Orochimaru's spy Kabuto Yakushi and come out on top. He even went head-to-head with Orochimaru himself and helped me and Jiraiya fight him off. If he is what you call a dead last, then I'm glad that you didn't determine the skill levels back when I was a genin, or else I would probably still be one. Naruto looked at Tsunade. So are we done? Because I would love to go and vent my frustrations right now. This entire meeting has pissed me right the fuck off. Tsunade sighed. Language, brat. And yes, that was all I needed. Be at the Chunin exam stadium at 10 a.m. next Monday for your fights. Naruto nodded and bowed to her before moving to open and jump out the window to begin racing along the rooftops. As soon as he left, the office broke into a smattering of talk. Mostly centered around the audacity of Naruto and how the demon brat was going to get slaughtered next week. Tsunade finally got fed up with it all. Silence. What does this look like? The Jounin lounge. Get out. As they began to leave, she called, Asuma, Kurenai, Guy, you 3 stay. They did as was told. The rules for the test will be roughly that he will fight each genin 1 by 1. The other rules will be given on the day of the test. You can all get together to determine the order in which you want them to fight. You all need to inform your teams of my decision for next week. Prepare them well, trust me, they'll need every bit of training they can get. Asuma looked skeptical. It's just 1 genin, Tsunade-sama. Even if we don't train them, he couldn't possibly beat more than 2 in a row. Tsunade gave up and shrugged. It's your team, Asuma. You can do whatever you feel you should with them. They're your responsibility. You're all dismissed. XXX. Naruto ran along the rooftops back to his home when a familiar presence landed behind him. Sasuke team, you're out of the hospital, I see. Sasuke glared at Naruto's back. Fight me, Dobe. Dobe, huh? Naruto didn't turn to face him. You can fight me in a week like everybody else. Sasuke looked at him in confusion. Like everybody else? What are you talking about? Naruto shook his head. Go find Kakashi and ask him. And while you're at it, tell him I'm not going on any missions with you all until the week is up, maybe. Naruto disappeared in a swirl of leaves, leaving Sasuke alone on the roof. He knows Shunshin? What have I been missing while I was in the hospital? How strong are you, Dobe? Triple X. Naruto once again sat in his apartment meditating silently when his eyes snapped open and he flung a kunai just in time for a poof to go off in his house. Naruto, you should really be more careful with these things. Kakashi appeared holding the kunai as the smoke faded. You do know that we need to talk, right? Naruto motioned for Kakashi to have a seat as the white-haired man did as directed. Naruto had moved to a more comfortable position on the ground to sit. So what do you need, Kakashi? Kakashi-sensei, Naruto. Kakashi finished with an eye smile. Naruto snorted. The last person I called sensei actually taught me stuff. Go ahead and ask your question. Did Sasuke-team talk to you yet? Kakashi sighed. Yes, and I've also heard from Hokage-sama about your test. Naruto, do you really think this is a good idea? Do you truly believe that you're ready for such a promotion? I mean, I can see that you finally dropped the orange and that scar on you was a new touch, but it takes more than that to be a chunin. Naruto smirked. Then it's a good thing that I'll end up being more than a chunin when this is all over then, huh? Kakashi's eye widened. You can't be serious. Naruto gazed at Kakashi seriously. I'm dead serious. I'm no genin level ninja. I wouldn't even call myself chunin. Doing all of this kiddie crap has dulled my edge. When you're systematically fed garbage, that's what you eventually become, garbage. Kakashi was confused by the whole turn of events here. He expected to simply admonish Naruto for such a brazen act of disrespect, get him to cancel his test and be done with it, but the trend with Naruto these days seemed to be getting more questions and problems than answers and solutions. Naruto, what are you saying? All genin have to go through missions like the ones you take, we've been over this. Naruto chuckled, go and talk to Bachan, or even Erosenin about my skill level and listen to what they say. They've both got the closest inkling to what I can really do more than anyone, and the truth is, I'm not even as good as I should be. At first I thought it was just a work in progress, that if I just trained like I used to that it would come back to me, but I recently realized something. Naruto clenched his fists. I realized just how fucked up I am when I fought Kabuto when we went to go get Bachan. I was talking to the guy, instead of just running through him and moving on to more important matters. I was casually engaging him like it was a game, like we weren't both there to kill each other instead of me running through him like a buzzsaw, which was what I should have done. I should have been kill first, ask questions later. I realized this when I noted that he had gotten back up from the Rasengan. Naruto pointed out the window at Konoha, it's this place. When I was little that never would have happened, I would have just killed him and moved along. This place's arrogance rubs off on you. The academy stresses stealth, but apparently stealth isn't good enough. For a Konoha ninja once they graduate, seeing as how I've yet to actually meet one that actively uses it in fights. Kakashi took offense to that. Naruto, Konoha's will of fire stresses protecting your fellow villagers and comrades above all else. The way you speak of combat, someone would be left out and could get injured. Do you not remember my first lesson to you? Naruto scoffed, more like your only lesson, but who's counting? Yes, Kakashi, but sometimes a weapon can protect better from the shadows than out in the light. You all specialize in open area fighting. You all are just glorified samurai with special techniques for the most part. Naruto sighed and stood when he felt Kakashi's glare on him. Fine, nothing I say is going to make you change the way you think, so I'll just use the week off that I told you I was going to take. Naruto grabbed the weapons and items he sealed in his scrolls, his sword, and headed towards the door. Kakashi noted that he looked like he was going on a mission. Naruto, where are you going? Naruto looked back at him, a smile faintly playing on his lips. I'm going to get something very important to me back. Don't even bother to try and look for me either. If you want to talk to me, leave a message here or wait until I get back in on Monday to try to speak to me. Naruto stopped at the door before shutting it. You can try to find me, but you'll just be wasting your time, because if you can actually find me, then this week was a waste. Naruto shut his door, leaving one confused scarecrow inside. Triple X. 1 week later. Every single solitary soul in Konohagakure no Sato was on edge and watching around every corner for their own safety. It seemed like the prankster of hell had returned with a fiery vengeance, only no one could prove it was him this time. The pranks over the course of 5 days were reminiscent of the days of yore, but only cranked up substantially for a select few others. Day 1, it was quiet. Nothing really happened to anyone on this day with the exception of one lone pervert at the hot springs, who was stripped, tied up, and had pervert spray painted on him before being thrown inside of the woman's baths. Oddly enough, he was already crying about his testicles before the women even laid a finger on him in retribution. Day 2 was noted by a coded message sent out to the Hokage stating intent to pester and disorient the village into oblivion. It stated that she was not a victim, and to handle this like she would anything else, so she simply pulled out a bottle of sake and went about her day. The first true shots were fired early that morning, however, when the owners of stores and restaurants in the villages inexplicably found their stock and inventory switched out with each other, everything, even the stuff in storage and lockup. Restaurants found food switched with clothing, leather, and other goods needed to make clothes. Shinobi outfitters found their weaponry and armor replaced with flowers or canned goods. The entire day for them was spent figuring out who had what from whose store. Needless to say, the Merchants Guild had more work to do on this day than any other. The walls of the hot springs separating the men's and women's sides were blown down randomly during the day, much to one side's delight and the other's chagrin. The academy had their targets' bullseyes packed to the brim with mass amounts of kunai and shuriken stuck to them. Inside each classroom had the definition of stealth written on each chalkboard, and each student's seat had a handwritten and copied pamphlet on how to develop true sneaking skills. No teacher at the school's desk was free of nasty trappage, ranging from silly string, to stink bombs, to paint and glitter mini cannons, with the exception of one Iraka Yumano who had a sealed, steaming bowl of ramen within his chopsticks helpfully included. Day 3, at 5 p.m. in the evening, the Jounin lounge had been riddled with pranks. At the lounge, the common area refrigerator was filled with urine samples swiped from the hospital, replacing all of the things that had been stored within. Starch was injected into the couch cushions, making them hard, lumpy, and uncomfortable. A space heater had been hidden in all four corners of the room, eventually making the room stiflingly hot, and unfortunately for all who were within at the time, the tops of the ceiling fan blades had been coated in itching powder. Day 4, apparently the prankster had a wild hair up his ass on this day because he was getting ballsy enough to make attempts on the clans of the village. The Inuzuka clan kennels were a miserable place to be, as the prankster had swiped a vial of pheromones from the vet's office and let it go within the kennels of the Ninken. The poor genin squads that were hired that day to walk the dogs were subjected to a sight better left to a twisted nature documentary of some sort. Entire teams were mentally scarred from the scenes. The Aburame clan was heckled repeatedly for hours by their Kakacha, repeatedly reacting to a delicious source of chakra being flared on their grounds in different areas randomly and blatantly. When they arrived on the scene to check it out, they couldn't even find the faintest of signatures. The final massive flare-up, however, scared the shit out of them, being something reminiscent of the night the Kyuubi attacked 12 years ago. The Nara clan's deer had all been removed from their grounds and spread out all over Konoha. Now, while the deer were just as easygoing as the clansmen and wouldn't move too far from where they were placed, it was still damn troublesome for the ones sent out to retrieve them. The Hyuga clan grounds ended up having flash bomb traps set up over random areas of mass traffic. Doorways, hallways, the waiting room outside of the clan head's office, all of them and more. Every Hyuga ended up being flashed at least once during the day. Those that thought that activating their Byakugan while roaming the halls to find the bombs before they went off would be a good idea not only failed miserably, they ended up getting it worse that way. The most unnecessary and shining example of overkill that could be provided took place at the Uchiha clan main building where one Sasuke Uchiha resided. From the second his foot hit the floor that day, he instantly tripped a wire that activated a mass of smoke bombs that filled the house room by room. As he went to brush his teeth, he ended up heaving in the toilet due to the fact that his toothpaste had been switched with a tube of raw ground beef. All of Sasuke's shirts had an iron-on emblem of a heart on the front of them, even the undershirts. Seeing this, he scoffed and decided since he was staying at home that day to train, he didn't need a shirt. As he walked into the kitchen, he was blasted with a hidden glitter cannon. Glitter is mother effer, so you just have to imagine this. When he opened his refrigerator door, cologne was dumped on him from above. Now, getting pissed off that his attempts to start the day kept ending with some kind of shenanigans, he decided to head outdoors to practice with his kunai. Upon opening his door, he was greeted with a sight that until this moment was something saved for his academy day nightmares. Standing out in front of his house was a sea of fangirls, and much to his horror a few fanboys, gathered from around the village. The day before this occurrence, flyers were put up all over Konoha advertising Sasuke Uchiha hosting a mystery contest of sorts at his home, with the prize, of course, being one day with him alone to do whatever. Now the sight of Sasuke Uchiha stumbling out of his house, smoke billowing behind him, without a shirt, glinting in the sunlight like some sort of New Age vampire, coupled with the overwhelming smell of the cologne drenching his frame was, simply put, overkill for the young women there for their Uchiha-sama. Now Sasuke, not being slow on the uptake by any stretch of the imagination, had his Bishonen senses tingling the second he opened the door. And with good reason he took the staring, hungry looks of the females in attendance as his cue to get the hell out of there, taking off in a dead sprint towards town to find a place to hide and lose the raving fangirls. And this is where the cologne came in, because he could run, but smelling like an entire bottle of cheap-ass body spray, he damn sure couldn't hide. And so Konoha was subjected to the sight of Rookie of the Year, the last loyal Uchiha, Sasuke Uchiha, running around town frantically ducking and dodging attempts from other girls to make him theirs and win his love. Day 5, at the limits of their own sanity, nothing really happened on this day, it didn't have to. By now the citizens of the village were so frazzled by their week in hell that they ended up screwing with themselves. Prices in the general stores were dropped to all-time lows in a collaborative effort to lure out the prankster in question, who they figured had to restock. They were wrong, and simply ended up getting mobbed all at once by artisans ordering raw materials in bulk after having everything ruined by the prankster, young kids rolling through with pockets full of cash and a sweet tooth, and pretty much everybody in Konoha that liked to take advantage of a good deal. They lost more money than they really made, the prices were so low. The ninjas sent to patrol and watch out for suspicious activities were at the end of their rope, so much so that in addition to turning on each other and hatching crackpot theories about whodunit, they had taken to harassing the general public. The bags under their eyes showing that they hadn't gotten any good sleep over this in days. By the end of the Reign of Terror, the only people not touched by the spree of pranking in some way were Tsunade herself, Shizune, Konohamaru and his 3 friends, the ninja outfitting shop owned by Tenten's family, Tuchi and Ayame Chiraku, and Iruka Yumano. The final prank was harmless compared to the rest of the week's activities. It consisted of every face on the Hokage monument with wide eyes painted on looking out towards the Chunin exam stadium with stupid grins on their faces, with sundry sweets and refreshments being painted around their faces. Over their heads hung a massive banner stating simply, 10 a.m. Chunin exam stadium. The people that wandered into the Chunin exam stadium for the test they were informed was going to happen were surprised to see one Naruto Uzumaki, already sitting down in the center of the arena, decked out in a dark red muscle shirt and pants, hidey as a belt, seemingly in a meditative state. As more and more people filed in, a smattering of comments regarding why the demon brat was here and what the test was exactly. Naruto was seated under the tree in the arena currently resting. The 5 days of pranks prior to this were him actually training himself. He had been neglecting the basics of his ninja arts in exchange for power and jutsu, something he blamed on his other side. After fighting Kabuto and remembering how he used to be, he remembered the words told to him in his formulative years, the ninja with stealth and surprise on his side should be able to win without ever using a single jutsu. He had spent the days progressively stepping up the difficulty of his pranks, and much to his delight he had never been caught once, even when deliberately provoking a response that alerted others of his direct location. Except for the pranks on Sasuke, no test was intended. That was purely for him, it was just sheer fun. Around 9 o'clock the familiar bare-masked Umbu of Tsunade's arrived next to him. Naruto stood up to properly greet the man. "Hello Kuma-san. Bachan send you to get me again?" The Umbu nodded. "Yes, Hokage-sama would like to know if you would like her to tell you the rules of engagement prior to the beginning of your test?" Naruto shook his head. "No, she'll just end up explaining it to everyone after they all arrive anyway. There's no need to make her do it twice, so I'll just wait." Kuma nodded and shunshined out of Naruto's space, leaving him to continue meditating until he would inevitably end up being interrupted again. The next interruption occurred at around 9:30 when Kurenai led her team into the arena. Naruto's focus was broken by Kiba loudly bragging, "Oh man, we're all fighting Naruto? What did he do to piss the Hokage off like that to get this to happen to him?" Kurenai looked over to Naruto, who waved back at her in indifference before returning to his meditation. She looked down at Kiba. "Kiba, do not underestimate him here. He already defeated you once already, you shouldn't do the same thing twice in this instance." Kiba smirked in confidence, he got in a few lucky shots last time. This one won't last nearly as long, me and Akamaru will knock him out before he can start playing his games. The Kyuubi scoffed in Naruto's mind, what a loud mutt. I hope you fight him first so you can shut him up and I don't have to hear him bark anymore. Naruto smirked slightly, calm down Kyuubi. They'll all get my point in a few minutes. Shino looked over at Naruto who was still seated under his tree. Kurenai-sensei, I don't understand why we're all fighting Uzumaki-san in the first place. You said all of the teams would be participating, that is illogical. Why would all of the teams be needed to fight just him? Kurenai looked at her sunglasses sporting Genin. The Hokage gave him this option last week during a meeting and he took it. I don't understand just why it's happening in the first place, but all you can do is fight him at your best. Shino nodded, I wasn't planning on doing anything other than that. Kurenai looked at Hinata who was trying her best to look anywhere but at the blonde sitting under the tree. Hinata. You will probably have to fight him too. Don't let anything cloud your mind on this. If you don't fight him seriously then there is a good chance that he will defeat you. Hinata nodded, but her mind was a wreck. I have to fight Naruto-kun. I can't possibly bring myself to do anything to hurt him. What would I do if I injured him? Would I ever have a chance with him then? Soon after the entrance of Team 8, Asuma brought his own Genin team into the fold, with Shikamaru leading the pack. This is so troublesome. Why are we here? You got all gung-ho today about dragging us to the arena. Asuma took a drag of his cigarette as he brought his Genin over near Kurenai. You're here to fight Naruto. He'll be taking you all on one at a time so it shouldn't be too much trouble if the order works out the way it should. Ino looked over to her fellow blondes sitting under the tree. Naruto? Why would we all be fighting Naruto? What's the point? He might be able to beat one of us, maybe two, but that's pushing it. There's no way he can beat our entire team. Kurenai chimed in, he's not really fighting your entire team, he's really supposed to be fighting everyone, your team, my team, Guy's team, and Kakashi's other kids. Seeing the stunned looks on the faces of Team 10, she glared at Asuma. You didn't tell them this was happening? Asuma shrugged, like Ino said, there's no way he could beat any more than two of them at the most. Shikamaru muttered out another troublesome while Choji stood next to him eating chips. Triple X. Naruto was now analyzing his upcoming opponents. He noticed that Shikamaru and Shino were subtly doing the same of him and he mentally groaned, man, I hope the dumb, stupid ones fight me first so I can get them out of the way. No matter when I fight Shino or Shikamaru it's going to suck because they're already thinking on how to beat me. I hope I get someone like Kiba or Neji first, they might still underestimate me and I can just run right through them. Kyuubi was seemingly getting excited as the time for the fights drew nearer. Hey Kit, are you going to use the trigger? Naruto paled, hell no, I'm not using the trigger. Not here in front of all of these people, and not on Genin. Are you insane? That would kill them. Naruto could feel the grin on the Kyuubi's face. I know. Naruto shook his head free of thoughts just as an unmistakable shade of green entered the scene. Triple X. Guy, glistening smile included, ambled into the stadium with Rock Lee on crutches, an uncaring-looking Neji, and Tenten who actually waved at Naruto. Eyes widening, as he didn't really expect that, he gave her a small smile and waved back to her. Kurenai was still mad at Asuma for taking this so casually. Guy, I hope you informed your students about what was going on today. Guy gave her a thumbs up, of course I did. It would have been a crime not to let my adorable students know that they would have an opportunity to fight today. My only regret is that Lee-kun here could not have a chance to test his flames of youth against Naruto-kun. Neji ignored the continued ramblings of Guy and Lee and looked over to the placid blonde under the tree. Taking note of his new look and the sword strapped to his back, Neji narrowed his eyes. Why are we all here just to fight Naruto? At 10:24 on the dot, guess who managed to find his way into the arena? Being dragged by Sasuke, Kakashi let out a nervous eye smile. Sorry, we were almost late. I accidentally covered both my eyes with my headband this morning and by the time I thought about it I was on top of the Hokage monument. Sasuke growled at the excuse while Sakura shook her head. Then you should have seen the massive banner up there telling everyone about this. Kakashi smiled at her. Ah, but I did, that's why I found you too, remember? Tsunade, with Shizen behind her, arrived with a deadpan expression on her face. This isn't the kind of thing that I'm going to have to get used to with you, Kakashi, is it? Kakashi smiled at her. No, no. I'm usually much later. After a round of face faults all around, Tsunade straightened up and faced the audience, projecting her voice to be easily heard. Ladies and gentlemen of Kanahagakure no Sato, today we have a special attraction for all of you. You will get to see some of the most prominent genin in this village pitted against one lone genin in today's battles. She pointed out to the tree where Naruto had long since stood up and begun loosening up. The sole genin in question is Naruto Uzumaki. A chorus of boos rang out among the audience until Naruto used the technique Tsunade had used to project her voice. Shut the hell up. You miserable bastards. Tsunade's sweat dropped at Naruto's dismissal of the crowd. Right. Well then, the rules will be as follows. A one-on-one bout between Naruto and one of the genin to be selected by their sensei. If Naruto can defeat the opponent he is matched with, he will be matched up with the next, and so on, and so forth until he is either defeated or runs through them all. She finished with a smirk. She motioned for someone to walk over. The proctor for the bouts will be Anko Mitarashi. Anko came from the back smirking at the genin whose fight she would be refereeing. She turned to look out at Naruto, who was still stretching. Alright Gaki, you've talked a big game and Ibiki seems convinced, let's see what you've got. Tsunade turned to the jounin who were conferencing amongst themselves. So have you decided who was first? They all nodded as Asuma stepped and whispered their decision in her ear. Tsunade nodded and reprojected her voice. The first bout will be Naruto Uzumaki versus Sakura Haruno. All others cleared the arena immediately. All of the other genin and their senseis made their way to the waiting area to watch the proceedings along with Tsunade. As they cleared out, it left Naruto standing out with Sakura and Anko. Naruto sighed and looked at Sakura. Do you really want to do this? You can always just quit now. Sakura glared at him. Are you saying that I'm too weak to fight you? I'm the same ranking as you, and I graduated at the top of the class. You were dead last. Naruto's eyes didn't leave her. I didn't say you were weak, you did. You're just weaker than me. And about the academy. I guess I could say that everything I ever needed to know I learned in kindergarten. Anko looked between them. First match, Naruto Uzumaki versus Sakura Haruno. Hajime. Triple X. Tsunade looked at the jounin as Naruto and Sakura moved close to Anko to begin. Why did you choose Sakura to lead off? Kakashi looked at her lazily. Well, we figured that while Naruto probably would more than likely win against her, we were banking on him taking it somewhat easy on her due to her being on his team and all. Asuma nodded. It's common knowledge that he had a massive crush on her in the academy and even when they were assigned teams. We thought that this would force him to take some damage before kicking it in high gear to actively finish her. FWAP. Shausa, Naruto Uzumaki. What? Triple X. Naruto looked down at the unconscious Sakura at his feet and then at Anko who was poking her with a stick. Anko looked up at Naruto and grinned widely. Damn Gaki, what was that for? Naruto shrugged. What? That was a love tap. She just came rushing in with that academy cookie-cutter style of taijutsu, and she had her guard so wide open. It was a jab. Who knew she had the chin of a 5-year-old narcolepsy patient? Anko burst out in laughter at the casual way he handled that. Medics came out and carried her off quickly, clearing the arena once more. Naruto shook his head at the results of his first match. He looked up to the jounin with a deadpan expression. What the hell was that? I really hope you've got more for me than that, or you can just mark me down as winning this whole thing right now. Anko tried to calm herself down from her laughing fit. Kakashi, that was pathetic. Was she supposed to actually do something out here against him? I don't think she could beat an academy student fighting like that. Triple X. Tsunade had to laugh at how easily Naruto dealt with his crush as she saw the jounin looking on in surprise. Kakashi rubbed his visible eye. I didn't think it would be that fast. Asuma chuckled at Kakashi's expression. Why, what happened? I blinked and I missed it. Kurenai looked at Kakashi suspiciously. Kakashi. That looked like a strictly academy attack. Have you taught her anything since she was on your team? Kakashi thought about it. Define anything. Tsunade sighed. Alright, that was a waste of an introduction. Who's next? Shizen handed Tsunade the order that the Jounin had written out. Okay, Ino Yamanaka. Get down there. Triple X. Naruto squinted to see Ino coming out to face him next. Naruto grumbled under his breath, so I'm getting all of the weak ones first? Okay, let's deal with that. Naruto hadn't moved an inch from his first fight, so he simply stood and waited for Ino to take her position. Ino looked at Naruto, smirking at him. I'm not as pathetic as forehead Naruto. Just give up, you won't beat me. At a glance, Ino realized that Naruto's blue eyes were boring into her own without a hint of response. On the inside, however, one could find Naruto rolling with laughter alongside the Kyuubi. She really thinks she can beat me. Are you kidding me? Hey Kyuubi, are you ready? Kyuubi stopped laughing at the behest of its container. Anytime, Kit. Go for it. Anko raised her hand up. Second match, Naruto Uzumaki versus Ino Yamanaka. Hajime. Ino tensed and waited for Naruto to move, but it never came. Aren't you going to fight me, Naruto? Naruto shook his head. There's no point for me to attack you. It would be overkill, seeing as how no matter what you did I could beat you in one move. Ino gritted her teeth. Oh yeah? She brought her hands up in the famous sign of her family. Triple X. Inoichi Yamanaka, who had come to watch the fights alongside his teammates, felt his heart stop when she made that sign. Ino no. Triple X. Shintenshin no Jutsu, mind-body switch jutsu. Naruto didn't move as Ino let her spirit fly into his own. Upon contact, Naruto slumped over. Triple X. Kiba shook his head and laughed as he saw Naruto go limp. He actually stood still and let Ino hit him with that move? He was watching during the Chunin exam like the rest of us, he should know what it does. Shikamaru nodded. I was worried at first. I didn't know how Ino was going to get him to hold still to hit him with it, but he did most of the work for her. Asuma, however, wasn't so confident. Oh Ino, that was not a good idea. Triple X. Anko walked over to Naruto's slumped over body and poked him in the head. Hello? Which one of you brats is in there? Naruto stood up straight. It's me. Ino is in there being entertained in the confines of my mind. Anko shook her head. That's mean, Gaki. You know why that isn't safe, don't you? Naruto scoffed as he took out some ninja wire and walked towards Ino's body. Well, it was her own damn fault. No one told her to try and mind rape me, but she did anyway. It's not my problem that the only jutsu she knows isn't a battle jutsu. He began tying her up casually. Call it. Anko nodded. Shausa, Naruto Uzumaki. After hearing that, Ino broke out in a scream as she returned to her own body, babbling about massacres and torture and all kinds of things. Naruto raised an eyebrow as the medic team escorted her off. Kyuubi, what the hell did you do to her? Kyuubi was batting its tails in a pleased fashion. Well, Kit, you told me not to kill her or maim her, so I simply directed her to some of your older memories. You know, tried to show her just what a real shinobi is. Naruto felt like rubbing his temple. What older memories? Naruto knew the Kyuubi was having fun with this, just all of the fun ones. Like that time at Kominari no Kuni, for example. Naruto blanched. Kominari no Kuni. Do you know how many of those motherfuckers I killed back there? You showed her ones like that? I think you might have given her PTSD or something? You know they'll blame us for that, right? Kyuubi chuckled. Well, you did let me do it, so I think technically it is our fault anyway. Naruto ambled back over to Anko. I hate you. Love you too, Kit. Triple X. The jounin in the waiting area all had grimaces on their faces. Naruto intentionally allowed Ino to use Shintenshin no Jutsu on him, knowing that he had something of a natural defense for it. Kakashi looked at Ino being carried away. Well, that's 2 down and he didn't even have to do anything to win. Kurenai was a bit more upbeat about the whole situation. Well, at least next match I know he'll have to fight. Asuma looked at the fight order and nodded. There's no way he gets out of this one without some damage on him. Tsunade glanced at them briefly. Send whoever it is down then. Kurenai walked off to fetch the next Jinin to fight. Triple X. Naruto was once again standing by Anko, who was looking at him. You know, Gaki, if you actually want to get promoted from this, then you're eventually going to have to, I don't know, fight? Naruto smirked at her. You're just bored. Anko waved her arms childishly. You're damn right I'm bored. You haven't moved 12 steps since this whole thing started. I expected some action. You've just ended up fighting two little girls that I could beat while I was hogtied. Naruto frowned. Well, yeah, they suck. That's why I didn't try fighting them. Why waste energy beating them when I could let them beat themselves? Anko pouted. I wish someone would come out here to kick your ass so I can enjoy myself. Naruto chuckled. Keep on dreaming, Snake Lady. I'm doing this to prove a point if you didn't know. I'm proving that they can't beat me. That kind of implies that none of them are going to get a good fight out of me. Naruto noticed someone coming from the tunnel for his next fight. Triple X. Choji and Shikamaru watched Ino being carried off after Naruto was declared the winner. Choji was watching in shock as Naruto had shrugged off her family technique like it was nothing. Shikamaru, what just happened? Ino hit him with Shintenshin, didn't she? Shikamaru nodded. Yeah, she hit him head-on. She was in there good. He must have a strong will, like Sakura had to break out of it or something. Choji nodded. But what about all of that stuff she was screaming? Slaughters, tortures, beatings? What does all of that stuff mean? Shikamaru watched Naruto retake his spot. I don't know, but we have a real concern right now. We don't know who's fighting him after this. Look at him, he hasn't had to do anything at all and he's already won 2 fights. Asuma walked up behind them and placed a hand on their shoulders. Don't worry guys, he's fighting Kiba next. Even if he doesn't lose, Kiba will wear him down enough for the next fight. Triple X. Kiba was smirking as he set Akamaru down beside him. Finally, time for my rematch, Naruto. You won last time, but you can't do it twice. I'm getting my win back. Naruto said nothing and looked to Anko to start the fight. Match 3, Naruto Uzumaki vs Kiba Inuzuka. Hajime. Shikyaku no Jutsu, 4 legs technique. Kiba crouched down on all fours as his features became even more feral. This was all well and good for about 3 seconds until a blue shinobi sandal implanted itself under his chin and sent him flying backwards. Akamaru ran to his master, barking frantically as Kiba slowly pulled himself to his feet. Kiba shakily stood up. Yeah, I'm alright boy, he just caught me off guard. He looked up to reveal that Naruto was nowhere in sight. Kiba chuckled before jumping out of the way as a pair of hands broke through the ground he was standing on. Kiba laughed as he dodged the hands. I thought I told you last time. I can smell you, dope. You can't sneak up on me. His gloating was cut short as a sharp pain in his back sent him flying forward. Looking up from the ground, he saw Naruto standing with his leg extended in a kick. He turned towards the underground figure to see the hands explode into smoke. Kiba stood up and glared at him. I had your scent. Where were you? There was no way you could get the drop on me. Naruto lowered his leg and gazed out coolly at Kiba. You should quit out of principle. If this was a real fight, then I would have killed you just now. Kiba growled at Naruto while he just looked at him. Just because you can identify that I'm in the area means jack shit if I'm too fast for you to pinpoint my location. Kiba hurriedly grabbed a pill from his pocket and threw it at Akamaru, remembering his opening troubles when it came to moving too slow. The little dog turned red after swallowing the pill while Kiba provided him some of his chakra, Jujin Bunshin, man-beast clone. Kiba pulled out his smoke bombs and threw them at Naruto, engulfing him in smoke. Remember this, Naruto? Well, here we go again. Kiba and the transformed Akamaru ran at the smoke and jumped towards it. Getsuga, dual piercing Fong. After the twin drills tore through the smoke until it dissipated, Kiba and Akamaru stood in the smoke, sans Naruto, dumbfounded, and surrounded by kunai. Naruto came from his spot in the tree over to them. Kiba saw him walking up with his hands in a hand sign and tried to charge and attack him before running into an invisible barrier that threw him back and numbed his body. What the hell is this? Naruto made some more hand signs before stopping halfway through the last one. You should surrender. This is going to suck for you. Kiba bared his teeth at him. Answer me. What did you do? Naruto shook his head. It's not what I did, it's what I'm going to do. Last chance, I'm not supposed to really be trying to kill you guys, and this jutsu has the potential to do it. Kiba and Akamaru just kept trying to break through his barrier. Naruto shrugged and made the last hand sign. Your funeral, Raiton, Denki Hokai, lightning release, electric implosion. The electric prison glowed white within until it was blindingly bright before the sounds of sharp crackling rang out. Naruto held the final hand sign for 10 seconds before he finally released it, revealing Kiba and Akamaru both unconscious and suffering from electric burns. Naruto walked over and picked up his kunai as Anko checked Kiba and Akamaru's vitals. She sighed in relief upon finding they were still alive and looked at Naruto, who was pocketing his kunai. Naruto shrugged. What? I asked him if he wanted to surrender. Did he think that anything I did from that point wouldn't mess him up? Anko gave him a dry look. You know, you kids aren't supposed to kill each other out here. Naruto gave her one in response. He's still breathing, isn't he? If I wanted to kill him, you could have replaced those kicks I landed at the start with my sword. Anko shook her head and smirked. Shausa, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto glanced at Kiba being placed on a stretcher and returned to the center of the arena, and that's roughly 1/3 of them down. Naruto turned up towards the Jounin and gestured towards Kiba, who was being carried off. Get the point yet? Because before I could swear that you all missed it. Triple X. Kurenai was stunned. The first time Naruto beat Kiba, it was surprising. She had thought it impossible then, but now more than realized that he was capable of it. It was how easily he beat Kiba this time around. Kiba didn't lay a finger on him the entire time. Kurenai clutched the order sheet as she marked off Kiba's name. Tsunade noticed that the crowd was perplexed. They had all been told that Naruto had no talent as a ninja, and here he was decimating the best ninja in his class, all of whom except one belonged to prominent clans. Kakashi moved closer to Tsunade. Tsunade-sama, it seems like you expected this to happen. Is there something that you know that we all don't? Tsunade grinned smugly at Kakashi. Why Kakashi? Isn't he on your team? Shouldn't his Jounin sensei have an idea of what goes on with his students? Kakashi was not in the mood for games. Tsunade-sama, seriously. This Naruto was nothing like the one I was conditioned for when he was assigned to my squad. Something has happened and I can tell you know what is going on. Tsunade turned to Kakashi and gave him a serious look. Listen Hatake, all I am at liberty to really say about the matter is that Naruto has rediscovered his potential. This is the real Naruto. If you want to find out about him, then go and ask him yourself. If this keeps up, he won't be yours to command for much longer anyway. Triple X. Naruto immediately put his game face on when he realized who he was to fight next. Okay, Pop Warner time is over, time to get serious. Shino walked out calmly from the back with his hands in his pockets as he moved up to Anko in a calculated manner. Anko elbowed Naruto in a teasing fashion. Well now Wonder Gaki. How are you going to handle this one? No clue, with those bugs on him I won't be able to hide. I wouldn't be surprised if he had one on me already. Naruto spoke under his breath as Shino drew close. I'll let you know when I figure it out myself. Shino stopped in front of Naruto as Anko looked between them. Fourth match, Naruto Uzumaki vs Shino Aburame. Hajime. Shino snapped his arms out in his taijutsu stance, as did Naruto out of obligation. Naruto stared him down intently as he could feel Shino doing the same from behind his sunglasses. Both boys simply waited for the other to move in order to prepare a counter. After a few minutes of no movement, Naruto moved back quickly as Shino released his swarms of insects at him. Beginning his retreat from Shino, Naruto's mind was running a mile a minute trying to come up with a good plan to beat Shino. He won't move, all he has to do is get those damnable bugs on me and he can beat me. He might not even be standing there anymore, it could just be a mushy bunch-in, bug clone. This is one of those situations where I wish someone was underestimating me. Naruto kept on his heels as Shino kept sending his Kikeichu out at him. What can I do? I can't get close or I'll get swarmed. There's no way I can surround him with kunai to trap him after he's already seen it. Come on, what else do I have up my sleeve? Naruto tossed out shuriken in a probing move. Shino simply raised a wall of insects to block easily until Naruto clapped his hands together. Futon Ripushu, wind release, violent wind palm. The gust coming from Naruto sped up the spinning shuriken and cut right through the wall of bugs. Shino took the hit and turned partly into bugs. The real Shino then appeared from the tree nearby and sicked more of his bugs on Naruto. Naruto's eye gleamed as he judged the distance between him and Shino and simply rushed him. Naruto had closed the distance by simply bullying his way through Shino's wall of insects and continued storming towards Shino. Shino attempted to latch the remaining bugs he had on his person onto Naruto, but the drain from the few amount of insects was similar to taking a bucket to scoop out a lake. Naruto viciously rocketed his fist into Shino's face. Naruto's punch dropped Shino cleanly as his Kakashi retreated into his body to help run damage control. Anko wandered over with a grin on her face. Shausa, the miracle Gaki, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto sighed as he picked himself up and walked over to Anko, who was still grinning. That was an ugly wingaki. Your right hand is pretty nasty. Naruto settled himself in his usual waiting position. A win is a win. Shino was my worst possible matchup, and I'm just lucky that he was just a rookie, or else I would have been screwed and had to step it up. He needs to learn more techniques. Anko was getting interested in this kid. So you're saying the rest of the fights will be easy? Naruto smirked. They'll all be easy. That one was just tough by comparison to what the majority of them will be. Triple X. Shikamaru watched the medics carrying off Shino and had to let out a groan. How troublesome. He fought 4 of us and he still isn't tired yet. Neji, who had been silently appraising Naruto's fighting since the start of the test, looked out at the boy in a thinking fashion. I lost to him last time, and now it seems as if he has only grown in leaps and bounds since then, and he has yet to even draw the sword on his back yet. Tenten, who had been next to her teammate throughout the proceedings, was amazed by how well he was fighting. Where did all of this come from? No one has even touched him yet. I wonder who could be next. Rock Lee had fire in his eyes. Oh, were it not for my injuries, I could test my own youth against Naruto-kun's considerable flames. I will seek him out for a spar once I recover, and I cannot, I will do 500 fingertip push-ups, and if I cannot do that, then I will dash. Lee, enough. Neji stopped that train before it got rolling. We've seen 4 fights and I still can't pinpoint a viable set label for him. If I had to call him anything, I would say he is a mid to close range specialist. Tenten smirked at Neji. Wow, Neji, I don't seem to recall you trying to analyze Naruto's fighting style the first time you two fought. Neji gave her a small smirk back. That's why I lost the first time. Sasuke was standing alone, gnashing his teeth as he watched Naruto basically sleepwalking through his matches. When is it my turn? I want my opportunity to fight the dobe. Itachi wanted something with Naruto. All of that emotion in his face, it was all directed at him. He barely considered me at all. If I can beat Naruto, then it will prove that I deserve Itachi's notice more. The genin all had their attention drawn as Shizen arrived to summon the next one for their turn against Naruto. Triple X. Naruto and Anko were in the midst of a short conversation as they waited for Naruto's next opponent. So your style consists mostly of you slowing your enemy down and picking them apart by striking at the throat, groin, and other soft areas? Anko nodded with a gleeful look on her face. Yep, it's really unpleasant. Want to see? Naruto unconsciously grabbed his groin. Nope, I'm good. Who's next? Anko pointed at the tunnel to get him to look. Naruto followed her line of vision to see Tenten entering from the tunnel. Okay, number 5. Let's do this. Tenten walked up to Naruto and faced him down. I'm pretty nervous about this. You aren't a pushover, Naruto. I might not win this, but I'll give it my best shot. Naruto slid into his stance, and that's all you can really do in the end. Don't sell yourself short, anyone can beat anyone. Anko raised her hand. The 5th match, Naruto Uzumaki vs Tenten. Hajime. Tenten immediately brandished kunai and began tossing them out at Naruto. In the blink of an eye, Naruto drew his blade and blocked the projectiles before rushing in to attack. Upon seeing him draw his blade, Tenten pulled out a scroll and summoned her own sword to engage Naruto with up close. As Naruto and Tenten clashed swords, he had to chuckle. A katana. You just wanted that spar you asked me for, didn't you? Tenten smirked, I have to see if you're any good at swinging that thing around. Naruto returned the smirk as he began pressing her back. Tenten planted her feet but ended up being pushed through the dirt. Gah, this strength. It's ridiculous. He might be stronger than Lee. Tenten lashed out with a kick as she chose to break off their contact that Naruto slapped aside with the flat of his blade. That's your leg, Tenten. Don't be so quick to attack, it pays to be somewhat patient. Tenten growled and ran back in to trade steel with Naruto again. Every stroke of her blade was blocked or parried and Naruto refused to take advantage of the openings that followed. Tenten disengaged and stomped on the ground in frustration. Why are you so good at this? You just got that thing last month. Naruto stood straight up and looked at her. I told you I was an old hand at this. You use a lot of weapons, but have you mastered any? I'm no master, but I was pretty good at this, plus I'm faster and stronger than you, so I can do stuff like dash dot. Naruto vanished and slipped behind her quickly to knock her out with the handle of his blade. He caught her before she hit the ground and set her down gently. You should have stuck with the long-range stuff. You would have lost anyway, but up close is almost tantamount to suicide against a guy like me, unless your name is Rock Lee or Niji, they're the only ones that can hang with me up close. Anko pointed to Naruto, Shausa, Naruto Uzumaki. Man, I am getting sick of saying that. Naruto smirked at Anko, while then convinced the other 5 genin to quit. Anko shook her head. You took your sweet time with that one gaki, why not just do that from the start? Naruto shrugged, hey, I get bored too, you know. She had a sword, I did too, it clicked, or clanged. Who's left anyway? Triple X. Asuma was dumbfounded as he watched yet another genin fall by his hand. What is he? How could he possibly be so good? He was just playing with her the entire time. No genin could possibly fight like that. Kurenai checked Tenten off of the list, 5 down, 5 to go, this is absurd. He's running right through them all. He hasn't had a single fight that lasted more than 5 minutes. Kakashi had gotten used to Naruto whooping ass on the genin and was still trying to sort out just what made him this way. Did Jiraiya do this during the month he was with him? What am I missing here? Asuma threw his hands in the air, send out the next one, there has to be someone who can beat him. Triple X. Naruto was mulling his potential opponents around in his head when his next one entered. Naruto saw the unmistakable expression of one Shikamaru Nara coming his way. Shikamaru took a lax stance in front of Naruto as Anko looked at his expression. Geez kid, could you look any more excited to be here? The 7th match, Naruto Uzumaki vs Shikamaru Nara. Hajime. Shikamaru scratched his head and made his rat seal. That's because I don't want to be here. There's no reason to fight here. At least during the Chunin exams I had to fight to avoid getting hurt, to get my team to the next stages, and if I had been motivated, fight to get promoted. There's no reason to fight you, there's nothing to gain or lose. This whole thing is so troublesome. Naruto put his hand on his neck and rolled it around, so, quit. Shikamaru shrugged, alright, later. Shikamaru turned and headed back up the tunnel waving over his shoulder. Anko blinked a few times, wow kid. Just, wow. Naruto blinked at Shikamaru's retreating form, holy crap, I just took a freaking shot in the dark. I had no idea that would actually work, I'm awesome. Anko snapped out of her stupor, right, well. Shausa, Naruto Uzumaki. Triple X. In the stands, Shoza Akimichi and Inoichi Yamanaka sweat-dropped at the results of the fight. Shoza looked over to his longtime partner Shikaku. Your boy is more like you than you care to mention Shikaku. Shikaka shrugged, hey, have you been watching this crap like I have? He didn't have a chance to win and he knew it. Naruto gave him a way out. The kid must be getting tired of this. Inoichi nodded, we've already determined that he can wipe the floor with all of our kids, so why are we still here? Shoza chuckled, speak for yourselves. He still hasn't fought Choji yet. There are still kids that can fight. This isn't over by a long shot. Triple X. 1010, who had woken up shortly after her fight with Naruto, looked at Shikamaru with a twitching eyebrow. You quit. Shikamaru yawned as he made his way to the railing. I didn't see any reason to fight. Niji frowned at his attitude. To prove yourself to all of the ninja and people in attendance. For your clan's honor. Shikamaru looked over at Niji lazily. There's no point. You might think all of that clan honor stuff is a big deal, but me, not so much. I didn't want to do this in the first place, and seeing how he's handled everyone else so far just solidified the fact that I really don't want to fight that kid. Sasuke scoffed, you're just too lazy to fight. Shikamaru glared at Sasuke, I did fight. I trapped him in Kageme no Jutsu, Shadow Position Jutsu, the second the fight started. When he rolled his neck he didn't show any resistance at all. My control over the technique isn't enough for me to keep a hold over a certain amount of brute force. The light out here was too much for me to use it effectively. It's around noon, and he didn't even blink. That jutsu was all I had on him, I couldn't have one. Triple X. Asuma was hitting his head on the wall. Damn Shikamaru. I should have known he would do that shit. Why didn't I put him on sooner? Tsunade was hanging on the railing laughing. Well, at least he knows when he's outmatched. Maybe he should be a Chunin Asuma? Kurenai checked his name off. 6 down, 4 to go. Her eyes widened when she saw who was next on the list. Oh no. I didn't think it would get this far. Triple X. Jan Dash. Ken Dash. Pawn. Anko pouted at the results. You brat. Naruto slapped Anko's closed fist. It's not my fault you always choose rock, Anko. Anko kissed her fist. A good old rock, nothing beats that. Naruto's sweat dropped. Yeah, sure, why not? Naruto growled in frustration. Kami. When's the next fight? I want to finish kicking everybody's ass so I can get my promotion and go home. Anko looked behind Naruto and turned him around. Oh, Hinata's next I guess. Naruto jumped backwards and set himself in his stance. Hinata shakily set herself in her Juken stance and looked out at him and Naruto-kun. Naruto's eyes hardened. Talk later, fight now. Come on Hinata, bring it on. Naruto's eyes bored into hers. Analyzing everything he could find, stripping her bare, this isn't Naruto-kun. His eyes have never been so cold before. There's none of the warmth there was before, just strength, strength that I can't match. Anko noticed the fidgeting of the girl. This girl is going to get destroyed if she doesn't shape up. This Gaki will be ruthless once the fight starts. She lifted her hand. 7th match, Naruto Uzumaki vs Hinata Hyuga. Hajime. Naruto wasted no time and dashed in to deliver a hook to Hinata's body and a sidekick to her head, sending her to the ground quickly. Hinata laid on the ground with her eyes welling with tears. Naruto-kun. Could you really hurt me like this? What happened to you? Get up. Her eyes turned onto the boy in question who was patiently standing and waiting for her to get up to continue. There is no way that was enough to put you down, so get up and fight me. Don't lay down and quit. I can accept that from Shikamaru but not you. I thought you had more in you than that. He began pacing as she remained on the ground. I remember watching you fight Niji, and I remember how you fought him. Yes, he was more skilled than you, but you showed fire, you showed that you have drive, and you showed that you have the courage to fight. He stopped and looked at her. Not now, I have to say. She locked eyes with him again and tried to find the Naruto she had come to love during the days in the academy and again found nothing, none of the upbeat, positive, bright Naruto she had known back then. This one was serious, professional, with the eyes of someone who knew just what kind of world he was living in. The scar simply added on to that. She began to stir from the ground and looked at him defiantly. You're not Naruto-kun. Naruto jerked an eyebrow. Excuse me? Hinata's eyes sharpened as she raised her voice. You're not Naruto-kun. Naruto-kun never acted like this, never spoke down to people. He would never use techniques like he used on Kiba-kun. Who are you? Naruto's eyes narrowed at her insinuation. Oh, I get it. I don't have my head in the clouds and can see things around me for what they are, so I'm not Naruto. I can find people's flaws and will actually comment on them openly, so I'm not Naruto. I'm actually skilled enough to use more techniques than Kaige Bunshin and they don't put me in direct danger, so I'm not Naruto. Naruto saw her falter with every word he made. I know why you're so upset about it. Her eyes widened. Does he really know? How did he find out? Naruto nodded to himself. You probably saw me as I was in the academy and like my never say die attitude, how I always got back up and shrugged off what everyone did and said to me. You figured, there's no way anyone can take all of that and still smile and keep on trying. So you thought I was strong. Naruto saw her react as if solidifying his thoughts, while that statement would be accurate. No one can keep on going through all of that and keep smiling, unless you're brain dead or something. Her reaction was priceless. His jaw dropped before she began speaking rapidly, trying to rescind the previous thought. Naruto raised a hand for her to stop. This is me. I'm still strong like I was back then, I'm just not willing to take bullshit like I was back then. Taking people's shit and coming back for more with a grin doesn't make you strong, it makes you stupid and weak. The reason people like you and people like me tend to want to get strong is to prove others wrong, to spite them, or to get strong enough that no one ever tries to fuck with you again. Naruto pointed at her. That's what you want. You want strength for the second reason. You do, even if it's subtle. You never want anyone to treat you the way Neji treated you during the preliminaries again, which by the way you act and the way you almost took it laying down must happen regularly. You want to be left to do things your own way, for those in stations above you to just let you be to live your life, but you quit. You saw me taking all my lumps in the academy and getting back up, and you didn't want to put the work in anymore. You wanted to settle for the strength to just deal with what life handed you. You didn't know that it's impossible for a human being to take that the way I did, and I became an ideal to you, an unreachable paragon. Hinata looked up with tear-filled eyes. No, that's not true. It isn't. I looked up to you as someone to be like, someone to strive after. Naruto rolled his eyes, like a paragon. Hinata shook her head. No, not like that. It's because I admire you. Naruto caught on and spoke lowly. You don't admire me, Hinata. You admire the idea of me, or the old me I should say. If you had me, then you thought that it wouldn't matter if you could never get the desire you had of just being able to deal, that if you had me that I could lend you enough of my own to get you by. Don't do that. I'm not your golden ticket, I'm not the answer to your problems, I'm just a guy with a sword and a whole can of whoop-ass. He spoke up now. If you want me to teach you how to fight, or how to get stronger, I can't do that, and I can't take your problems away from you. Do you know why? Hinata shook her head, tears were just about to fall. Naruto smiled sadly, because you can't respect someone that kisses your ass. Hinata, you didn't even try to fight my reasoning for why you thought you saw something in me, you were too afraid to go against me. What if that manifests again in something else later on and I'm not there for you to get a boost from? If you won't defend yourself to me, the person you admire, then how can you defend yourself against others when I'm not even there? Naruto sighed and ran his fingers through his spiky hair. Enough of this. This really isn't the time or the place for this kind of thing. This is the time for a fight. Now come, give me your best. Hinata let tears fall from her eyes. Naruto had yet to slip into his uncaring phase before he saw them hit the ground. Hinata. Her eyes floated up to him once more. Prove me wrong then. Show me I'm full of shit. Take an actual step towards changing yourself and fight me, damn it. Don't just go with the flow, your life won't let you do that. The things you need and want to accomplish in this world won't just come to you, no one's going to hand you the answers. Everything you want, it's there. So take it. Despite the harshness of his words, she looked into his eyes and saw something, concern, something that she had overlooked earlier. The fox in Naruto's head chuckled. Nice monologue, Ningen, you should write movie scripts. Naruto inwardly sneered. Fuck you, Kyuubi, that was serious. She needs to get it together, life is way harder than this. Hinata looked shocked for a moment before she wiped her eyes and fell into her stance, activating her Byakugan to begin. Naruto motioned for her to come and she ran in quickly and began to furiously engage him with Juken strikes. He's right. I need to show that I'm willing to change for good, not just when the situation calls for it. I'll show you, Naruto-kun. Despite the potential damage the strikes could deal with just a touch, Naruto was still faster. He was blocking the strikes with the palms of his hands rather than letting her close off his tenketsu otherwise. Eventually Naruto tired of blocking strikes and shot an axe kick to her hand in the middle of a strike. The kick ended up breaking her hand. She drew it back and tried a second attack with her other hand. This time Naruto latched on and elbowed her in the wrist, breaking it. Naruto jumped back as she cried out in pain. He simply stared her down. Okay. What are you going to do now? Will you walk away? Hinata hissed in pain of her now useless hands but soon set a defiant gaze on Naruto and charged back in to lash out with kicks. Naruto was pleasantly surprised with her last-ditch attacks and marveled at the fact that she was flexible enough to launch certain kicks that he knew shouldn't have been possible for the angles he was moving to. Naruto nodded to himself and slapped one of her kicks down to the ground and ducked down before delivering a rising palm strike under her chin, sending her flying and slipping her into unconsciousness. That's better. Now let's see if you can keep that spirit this time around. As her body hit the ground, Naruto sighed and walked towards Anko, who simply nodded. Shausa, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto retook his position by Anko, who was frowning at him. Nai-chan is going to kill you when this is all over, you know that, right? She loves that little girl like a daughter. Naruto looked up at Kurenai, who was glaring heavily at him. He could have sworn she was trying to cast a genjutsu on him via eye contact, but he shook it off. Well, then I should never have had to do that. She should have gotten her on track way before she fought me here. Except for 10-10, all of these girls need a reality check if my ass kickings didn't already do it. Naruto looked up to the box. All of you guys suck. I hope the last three can show something here. I haven't even taken a punch yet. I guess I'm not the only genin that got shafted by their sensei here, huh? Anko looked Naruto over. Getting tired yet, Gaki? Naruto shook his head. Nope, just getting warmed up, Anko-san. Anko grinned at him. None of that Hisan stuff, Gaki. It's Anko-chan to you. You're one interesting kid. Naruto kept himself limber, waiting for his next fight. Whatever you say, Anko-san. Jutsu list. Raitun, Denki Hokai, Lightning Release, Electric Implosion. B rank Ninjutsu. Mid to close range. A branching technique from Raitun, Denkai. Causes a buildup of electric pressure within the conducting points in the shape of a dome. The pressure pushes down on the victim and combines with the electric nature of the jutsu to compress and shock the enemy.
That's it for today. Remember to show your support to the creator of this story if you enjoyed it. If you would like more parts of the story to be uploaded, leave a comment and subscribe to get notified when the story continues. Bye-bye for now, and I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day.